two Governor's Cup championships have been decided in dramatic fashion between the two teams on the field tonight. First of a four-game series, it's International League Baseball. The Durham Bulls against the defending Governor's Cup champions, Pawtucket Red Sox. And good evening, everybody. Welcome to the DBAP. Patrick Keenis, joined by former New York Yankees outfielder Scott Pose. And Scott, familiarity reigns supreme tonight. The Bulls and the Paw Sox, the last couple of years, a champion has been determined from these two in late September. Talk about this rivalry. What can we expect tonight?
Well, we can expect the hotly contested series, and these games against these teams have always been that. Last year, here, Game 4, Rusney Castillo breaking everybody's hearts, getting a game-tying base hit. Pawtucket goes on to win it, and then they go on and win the Governor's Cup championship. And for the players that come back, they don't forget that. So each and every game that these two teams play, that's going to be really heightened. So we can expect that no matter what the team's records are at this point. Perhaps
fitting last year, Pawtucket wins on Durham's field. 2 years ago, Durham spilled champagne at McCoy Stadium. And speaking of last year, we're going to see a very familiar starting pitcher for the Paw Sox who started the clincher in Game 5, take on Robert Zarate.
Well, you've got Couch, who has thrown the ball very well, especially in his last start. He's on a roll, and so the Bulls are hoping that doesn't continue. Of course, the Red Sox do. But he's a very capable pitcher, but he's going to try to miss the bats of the Durham Bulls. It's going to be important for Zarate because you've got Castillo in there, Jackie Bradley Jr. Pawtucket's got a good lineup, so it's going to be a very interesting matchup and an exciting one to watch.
All right, opener of a four-game set. The All-Star break is over. Bulls and Paw Sox, they meet again. Stay tuned for baseball.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Durham, North Carolina and Durham Bulls Athletic Park. The All-Star break is over. It is a 54-game sprint to the finish line for the two teams who have vied for the Governor's Cup championship each of the last 2 years. It is the Durham Bulls and the Pawtucket Red Sox. And good evening, everybody, along with the producer-engineer of Durham Bulls baseball, Dave Lyons, and former New York Yankee outfielder Scott Pose. I'm Patrick Keenis. We're glad to have you with us tonight. We'd like to welcome in our entire broadcast audience on the Bulls radio network here in the Triangle, all across North and South Carolina on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel, and our friends up in the Northeast on NESN carrying tonight's ball game. Welcome to Durham. And Scott Pose should be a good one. Robert Zarate, a virtual unknown, as he was signed by the Rays a little more than a couple of months ago. The left-hander starts for the Bulls tonight against the Paw Sox. It'll be Keith Couch, who knows the Bulls well, pitching the decisive Game 5 championship win in this ballpark last September.
Well, Keith Couch shut down the Durham Bulls. They didn't forget that and won the Governor's Cup here on the Bulls' turf. They'll remember that very well. And Zarate is a big, strong left-hander, very similar to Enny Romero, who's been up and down with the Rays, but he's a guy that's going to throw the mid-90s. He's got a curveball to go with it, but he's primarily a very, very good pitcher who throws hard. That's basically what you're going to have to do. You got to gear it up early to get in front of one of his fastballs. The curveball is a secondary pitch, and he's working on a third. It'll be interesting to see the velocity, and he will be throwing mid-90s, possibly more, and he does have a live arm.
All right, the Durham Bulls send Zarate, the 28-year-old, to the hill against Keith Couch. Series opener, first of 4. The Bulls open up play 4 games behind first place Charlotte in the South. Pawtucket, uncharacteristic, 5th place standing in the North. They're 10 games behind front run in Rochester. They're 12 back of the Norfolk Tides, chasing down the wild card. Glad to have you with us tonight. And let's unveil the lineup card signed by manager of the Paw Sox, Kevin Bowles. And it's brought to you by Pepsi, born in the Carolinas. And at the top of the order on a big league rehab, Daniel Nava. He is at first base. Jackie Bradley Jr. bats second. He plays center. Rusney Castillo in right. Carlos Peguero, the cleanup hitter. Peguero in left. Alan Craig is the DH. Garen Cicchini at third. Alberto Quintero is the catcher, just activated from the DL today. Jemile Weeks at second. And Marco Hernandez, prospect shortstop, in his first career AAA game. He bats ninth. And the first pitch, a solid fastball from Zarate at 92. Our umpires tonight, Brian DeBrawware works the plate, Joe Bourne at first, and Reed Churchill at third. Game time temperature 85 degrees. An appeal asked for by Luke Maley. 1-1 on Daniel Nava. Winds are calm, lights are on, and everybody is amped up to get back onto the field After a couple of days of golf, a couple of days of fishing, a few of these players were in Omaha 24 hours ago for the AAA All-Star game. 1 and 2 on the foul to the screen by Nava. And now the fun begins.
Well, 2 days off might seem like an eternity to a lot of baseball players because you're used to taking batting practice every day. And as a result, we might see timing considerably off, all things considered. Because you have that layoff, it's tough to get back in, seeing pitches and get into a rhythm again. And it may take an at-bat or two for the hitters to get back into the groove.
The 1-2 from Zarate. And now a foul tips a fastball zipping through at 93. Nava's 8th game with Pawtucket. Continuing his big league rehab. Sprained his left thumb in late May. And the Red Sox yearning to get him and a number of their elements back. But Boston has made a nice surge over the last week and a half into the big league All-Star break to get right back in the race. Zarate, 28-year-old Venezuelan, who was originally signed back in 2006 by Toronto, but spent very little time in the Blue Jays organization, and then went off the grid for a while. Went overseas, pitched sporadically in Japan. Nava stays alive, bouncing one into the dugout. But then resurfaced. The Rays signed him up during the offseason, got his arm back in shape. Went to the Florida State League affiliate in Port Charlotte for just 1 game before he was assigned to the Bulls, and has been with Durham a little more than 4 weeks. But what we've seen is a high level of maturity and confidence that he can get AAA hitters out. But prior to his time joining the Bulls last month, he had never gotten AAA in his career. And strikes out Nava with a sizzler at the knees.
And now put on the bat, but Zarate didn't give in, and then he makes the pitcher's pitch at the end. May have gotten a little help from Brian DeBrauware there, but when you hit your spot, you throw enough strikes. Kind of shows the bulldog mentality of Zarate. Pitch looked to be on the outside corner, but framed right at the knees. Nava takes it, but held there by Luke Maley. The Bulls get the call.
And here is Jackie Bradley Jr., former first-round pick out of the South Carolina Gamecock program. And we'll see a good slider from Zarate. The fastball has reached 95. And it works comfortably ahead in most counts. Ball and a strike on Bradley Jr.
Well, Zarate can be particularly tough on left-handed hitters just by virtue of the lefty-on-lefty matchup, but he has a little bit of a crossfire action too. He'll throw from the three-quarter arm slot, and when you throw that hard from three-quarters, you don't have a lot of reaction time on the left side of the batter's box.
Not only has Zarate been tough on lefties, he's been invincible so far against lefties. He will see 5 of them in the Pawtucket lineup. This year, over Zarate's first 5 games, they are now, with the strikeout of Nava, 0 for 17 with no walks left on left. He's now 2-2 on Bradley, so we'll watch that matchup very closely tonight. If he continues to have success, and these are elite left-handed batters he'll see tonight with a lot of big league time, but if he can handle the Navas, the Bradleys, the Pigueros in this lineup, he's in store for a good night. That's deflected off of the glove of Zarate, but played behind him by Hot-Zuli. 1-6-3 put out. Zarate smiling over at his third baseman, Richie Schaefer, saying, "How did I miss this ball? It's hit right at me."
Well, he's in fielding position when he gets rid of the ball, and then he reaches his glove up, deflects it, but Lee's able to make the quick exchange. It's going to go as a 1-6-3 put out, but good defense by the Bulls, and Zarate is no worse for the wear.
He's going to take some Armor All wipes to those goggles he's wearing. Breaking ball upstairs on Castillo. Castillo, 289 in his time with Pawtucket. 15 RBIs and 10 steals. Been up and down with the Red Sox a couple of times this year. 1-1 on Castillo. But you hit it right on the head in the open, Scott. This is a guy who broke thousands of Bulls' hearts with one swing last year in Game 4. 2-1 now on Castillo. The Bulls had won the Governor's Cup championship in 2013. It was a rematch with Pawtucket with the final 3 games in this ballpark. The Bulls led the series 2-1. They had a 1-run lead with 2 outs and the tying run at second base in the 9th inning, and 2 strikes on Castillo. And it was Adam Liberatore, left-hander on the mound, who had become the closer. And that man, Luke Maile, was catching him. And that man called for a breaking ball, and Liberatore, the veteran, shook him off. Wanted to strike out Castillo with a fastball. Still 3-2 on Castillo. And if we learned anything about Castillo in his brief time with Pawtucket last year, this guy can hit a fastball.
He can hit a fastball. It doesn't have to be a strike for him to hit it. That ball was up in the zone. He got on top of it, hit it in right center field. But he's a good bad ball hitter, but he loves good old number 1.
And that is strike 3 called. There's a fastball he didn't like, rung up by DeBraware. And Zarate, a perfect opening gambit to open this 4-game series. Pawtucket goes in order. We'll head to the bottom of the first, scoreless from Durham. One of the most hotly anticipated series of this stadium houses every year in Durham and Pawtucket. They reacquaint themselves tonight, game 1 of 4. A strong opening statement by Robert Zarate. Let's get to the lineup card signed by Jared Sandberg, first-year manager of the Bulls. It's brought to you by Pepsi, born in the Carolinas. And Boog Powell in the lineup. Looks at strike 1 from Couch. It's Powell in left field, Ryan Brett, the 2-hitter at second, and then Mikey Matsuk in right. 0-1 cut back, missed the corner. J.P. Arancibia cleans up at first base, Corey Brown in center, Richie Schaefer at third, then Nick Franklin the DH, Hawk Julie at short, and Luke Maile bats ninth and does the catching. Soft one hopper to Couch, Powell retired.
Second baseman, number 1, Ryan Brett.
Couch 4 and 8, a 5.49 earned run average, but don't let those numbers belie his stuff. This is a guy who, after Castillo's game-tying single last year, which led to a Game 4 extra inning win by Pawtucket, he took the mound fairly fresh from Double-A, had great numbers at Portland, started Game 5, confidently carved through the Bulls lineup, gave up 1 to hit over 6 2/3 shutout innings. And the championship belonged to Pawtucket for the second time in 3 years. Ryan Brett facing Pawtucket for the first time this year. Misses off speed from Couch. Couch will pitch to contact. Very low-level strikeout pitcher. 95 innings with the Paw Sox. He's fanned only 47.
He'll show the fastball and then go to work with cutters, sinkers, and then that breaking ball, which was really on last year when he pitched and came in the playoffs. That really befuddled the Bulls. It'll be interesting to see if he gets that working again.
2-2 now on Brett. Now, we talked about the familiarity of these two organizations and two lineups. Not so much with the lineup we're seeing tonight. The last time these teams met, you're talking back in the second month of the year, as a breaking ball takes care of Brett. But 4 of the 9 in the Bulls starting lineup tonight were elsewhere when these teams met. Same rings true for Pawtucket. And here is Mikey Matsuk, who was on this Bulls roster up at McCoy Stadium. Now, the guys who were on this Bulls roster, they had good series. Arancibia swung it well. Matsuk had 4 hits in the series. Corey Brown, the former Paw Sox, who won the championship over the Bulls last year, he swung it well up at Pawtucket a few months back. But this is the nature of AAA. You go 3.5 months deep into a season, a lot of the faces change. But one who was just added to this Pawtucket roster before the game today, the Bulls know by middle name, Ronald Belisario. The Bulls' outstanding closer this year with 17 saves. Took his opt-out in the middle of June. Went to the big leagues for Tampa Bay as Matsuk squirrels one down to third. The low throw and dug out of there beautifully by Daniel Nava. So Matsuk bounces out. Cicchini gets some help at first base. And perfect innings turned in by both Zarate and Couch. We're done with 1 from the DBAP. No score. 1-2 from Durham. Opener of 4 between the Bulls and the Paw Sox. Robert Zarate strong offering in the opening inning. A couple of strikeouts for the 28-year-old native of Valencia, Venezuela. Carlos Peguero will start the second inning here for Pawtucket on a spectacular evening. Nearly a sellout here at the DBAP. Big series with Pawtucket, always the big draw. And Peguero takes 2 tights. Peguero began the year with the Rangers, traded really a cash consideration deal with the Red Sox in late May. 1-1. And this will be a true litmus test for Zarate here against a guy like Peguero. Big slugger, middle of the order, bats left-handed. He'll face Cicchini later on this inning. This will give us a good idea how Zarate feels. He's pitching on a considerable extra rest here tonight for the Bulls. Peguero late. 1-2.
That's not always a good thing. It might be a good thing from a velocity standpoint because the pitcher's well rested, but those repeatable mechanics might be a little bit off. But Zarate looks to be on top of things just based on how things went in the first inning.
On 1-2. Down with a fastball.
He had a couple of strikeouts, both called, but his stuff is working. He has that crossfire. He's gone with the fastball. He's sinking it just a bit, working on the breaking ball and changeup. Very tough for lefties to pick up the ball against him.
This is a 2-2. Still tardy was Peguero. Now they compare and contrast as you get a look at Peguero's numbers here with Pawtucket. 7 home runs in just 23 games. But Zarate pitching for the first time since a week ago yesterday. Couch, meanwhile, for Pawtucket is right on line. There's an excellent emergency swing there on a fastball that was up. Still 2-2.
Well, Zarate going back with a fastball. He speeds up Peguero at the top of the zone, opens up the breaking stuff down.
Two again. Couple of hops wide at first. Zarate is going to have to cover the bag and doesn't get there in time. It's off to his glove and backed up by Maley. Peguero will reach. That's going to be it. We'll see a discussion between Ryan Brett and JP Arancibia on the right side of that infield on if that's a ball that Brett needs to call Arancibia off and say go back and cover the bag.
Well, it looked rough from the start just by sheer the fact that Arancibia had to travel a long way to get it. He moved to his right, and once he got the ball, he wasn't real decisive on getting the ball to Zarate. I don't think Zarate was there, so the timing was off. They work on this in PFP, underhands it, doesn't hit Zarate before he gets to the base. As a result, Zarate's got to try to time the catch and the touch of first. It's going to be ruled a base hit. As Peguero rolls over the breaking ball, hits it to Arancibia. The Bulls cannot make the play. The Sox have their first base runner.
This one is fouled our way over the first base dugout. An all-star grab made by a Bulls fan. We'll go back to the infield discussion there with Arancibia and Brett because they did talk after that play ended.
Well, it's an in-betweener. Hey, should you have taken that on that? And it's tough for Arancibia to know exactly how far he can range. That's a finite skill. Let's face it, Arancibia was a catcher / DH when he was a big leaguer. And now is playing first base. He's still learning his way. He's done a very good job for the Bulls, but that's the toughest play. How far do you go? Do you know the range? That's a give and take. But playing with a regular infielder, and the Bulls have been rotating infielder as well. Brett hasn't been out there every day, so you've got to have that communication. And it's an instinctual thing that's tough to pick up.
Good block on a pitch in the dirt by Maley. Sixth appearance for Zarate in his fourth start. And the last time we saw him, he was pushed even a little bit beyond what Kyle Snyder, Durham's pitching coach, and Jared Sandberg, the Bulls manager, were comfortable. The reason being the day before is when we saw the 17-6 annihilation by Charlotte over the Bulls when Durham had to use all relievers and Aaron Sebia and Belnomi to combine to pitch the final inning on the road. It's a situation where the Tampa Bay Rays had a game rained out the previous day with the Royals, had a day-night doubleheader the next day, and that forced Matt Andrews, who was scheduled to start that contest against Charlotte, to go up and face the Royals, and left Jose Dominguez holding the bag to at least start that game. That was a night where Charlotte's offense forced the Bulls to throw 222 pitches. Really, from the outset of that game, you knew it wasn't a matter of if there's a position player coming in to pitch, it's who and how many. But Zarate followed up the next day because so many arms were down from that game the previous day. So he went over 100 pitches for the first time. I think you're right. Giving him a few extra days off to get rested up and recuperated should work in his advantage. Leaping catch by Lee. Looks over Peguero's way. Craig hits it hard, but a little bit off the end of the bat. And Lee makes the grab on the liner.
First hard hit ball off Zarate of the night, but it's Craig who comes up with it. He hits this one and has a little bit of top spin on it. Lee thought he might have to jump. Does just a bit, but the ball's coming down to him. Had no chance to get Peguero on the double play, but well positioned by the Bulls coaching staff was Lee. He's there to make the catch.
Now Garen Cicchini. Just off the corner. 5 left-handed bats in this lineup against Zarate, and that scratch hit by Peguero, that's the very first hit any lefty has scored against Zarate all year. Cicchini hitting .213, and that just missed. Made his major league debut against the Rays. But it has not been up with Boston this year. This is a guy who's now been bouncing around a little bit, becoming one of the super utility guys now for the Red Sox at the AAA level. He's played more in the outfield than any other position in Pawtucket this year. 2-0. Little check swing bouncer to Schaefer. Up to Brett. The relay. Cicchini's hurt. And the relay takes Aaron Sebia off to the bag. And Cicchini hobbles past the bag. And he will be checked out here.
Well, I don't think Aaron Sebia realized that Cicchini was hobbling down, because I think if he just comes off the bag, he could have put the tag down. But the throw was offline. He wasn't able to. Let's hope he's okay. But he stumbled coming out of the box. It's a check swing. He hits it off the barrel. It goes right down to third base. Schaefer's there and starts what could be a double play, but the throw was high. If you notice, if Aaron Sebia just turned around to look, he could have possibly tagged out Cicchini.
Cicchini went down into a little crouch to flex out the ankles, flex out the knees. You see him there stretching that right leg, but no appearance from the athletic trainer. So he will stay in. 2 outs, though. And the batter is Humberto Quintero. No love lost between these two guys in the batter's box. Quintero and Maile will give you the backstory of that as this game goes on. Now, this is about as close as Maile and Quintero probably want to be at this stage. Memories are long in baseball. 1-1. Stemmed from an incident up at McCoy Stadium a couple of months ago when Maile was standing where Quintero is right now. Quintero just off the DL before today, hitting .245 with 4 homers. Swing and a miss. And even on that follow through, you know, emotions are raw right now, and it looked like Quintero thought that follow through might have caught Maile on the elbow, and he quickly extended the hand and wanted to apologize.
Hey, you want to make sure, hey, that wasn't intentional. There's been enough blood pass between these two, with Quintero and Maile up in Pawtucket.
And a wave and a miss. There's the third strikeout by left-hander Robert Zarate. So Zarate allows just a scratch single, nothing else. We'll head to the bottom of the second inning. Still no score. A very popular gathering place at the D-BAP. Jackie's Landing, the 42 bar. And Scott Pose, here's a look at the follow-through by Quintero against Luke Maile's mid here.
Well, it just did hit his glove, but Quintero doesn't know that. He knows he hit something. He's afraid that it was going to be his counterpart, at least catching that is, and wanted to make sure that he didn't get the elbow or the arm. And wheeled around quickly to say, hey, sorry, no intent.
Yep. Let's all keep our cool here. Bottom of the second begins with Aaron Sebia, who hit the All-Star break as the league leader in home runs. 16 of them for JP. And many of his home runs have come in bunches. Had a long sit down with Richie Schaefer before the game today. Schaefer has injected himself in this home run contest as Aaron Sebia hits a two-hopper down to Cicchini, who appears to be fine with that right leg. Throws out Aaron Sebia.
Well, Aaron Sebia has really driven the ball well, and he's taken advantage of a lot of hanging breaking balls. And that's going to make tonight's matchup very interesting between he and Couch, because Couch doesn't throw anything straight. He throws a lot of breaking balls. If he's got good movement, he's got a chance of getting Aaron Sebia out. But if he hangs one, Aaron Sebia could hit it a long way. Couch wins that battle with the ground up.
And for Aaron Sebia, 4 homers in his last 11 games in the month of July. Well, here's a guy the Paw Sox know well, Corey Brown, who's been in this league with various teams, Syracuse for several years. The Bulls saw Brown hit pretty well in the Governor's Cup Championship last September against Durham. And he swings and drives this one to deep left center. Bradley Jr. going back. It's over his head and off for the Blue Monster. Bradley can't play it off the wall, so Peguero does, and funnels the throw toward third. Double for Corey Brown, Durham's first hit.
Well, great approach against a pitcher who is fond of the breaking ball, as Couch has been early in this ball game, but he stays inside this one and uses the Blue Monster here in Durham. Stays back on what looked to be a breaking ball. It was up in the zone and hits it off the left center field part of the wall. It's past the manual scoreboard, bounces back. That wall will look familiar to many fans up in the Northeast, as it mimics a very famous one up there in Boston. But Brown, a good piece of hitting, and brings up probably the best prospect and a very strong power hitter up the plate now for the Bulls.
Well, there's Richie Schaefer, who missed the last couple of games of last weekend because of that pesky thing called the Futures game. So he was in Cincinnati, Ohio with Blake Snell, top prospect lefty pitcher in the Rays organization to represent Tampa Bay. And when I brought up the Futures game to Schaefer today, he couldn't stop giggling, smiling. What an experience it was. He said the teams were addressed by Frank Robinson before the game. I had a chance to talk with Ken Griffey Sr., which he called the highlight of his trip out to Cincinnati. And no surprise for Schaefer, one of the biggest power hitters there is right now in minor league baseball, now that Chris Bryant is up in the bigs with the Cubs. But he said, I didn't really have that great of an approach at home plate in my at-bats during the game. I'm trying to hit a home run. And I'm thinking to myself, that's why people are there watching you play. And they want to see the lefties who can throw 98 in that game. They want to see the big power hitters like Schaefer hit a ball 460 feet if he can.
Well, these are the counts that he lives for. He's in a fastball count, 3-1, and he takes a long swing as it is. He won't shorten up. He is at a number of home runs and gave the league a 5 to 6 week head start.
There's strike two, high strike. Full count on Schaefer.
It was the slider. He laid off that. Thought it might be in, but Brian Brouwer says no, it's not. State of battle, another pitch.
One out, Brown in scoring position. And another breaking ball popped up. Quintero sheds the mask, but this one is on the screen. And there you see back-to-back pitches of respect. And again, this is a guy Pawtucket has not seen before, but the stats are not lying to them. I mean, if you come up from Double-A and have 14 homers in 38 games, and your strikeout numbers aren't that alarming, with first base open, yeah, the scouting report might say, let's give this guy a couple of breaking balls, and if we walk him, we walk him. Now will they go to the slider a third straight time? No, but Couch can't command it. Walk to Schaefer. 2 on and 1 out.
Not the worst thing in the world for the Red Sox and Paw Sox, because it sets up the double play. Not an easy guy to double up coming to the play.
And that will be Nick Franklin. He's the DH today for Durham. Franklin, 284, 10 RBIs, 3 home runs. And Couch falls behind on a breaking ball. Franklin, one of the minor league centerpieces out of that David Price 3-way deal involving Detroit, Seattle, and Tampa Bay last year. This one is lined the other way. Hernandez can't get it. Peguero's coming up throwing. Here comes Brown. The tag is made. And Brown pleading his case.
Brown thought he got the feed in. And Jared Sandberg's going to come in and want to talk to Brian DeBrouwer about it. Great play by Peguero in left field. And here's why. It's a base hit to left field. Peguero's a left-handed thrower. He's got to move to his left, but gathers his momentum and throws a strike to the plate. Quintero's there waiting with the ball, and he gets the tag down. The question is, does he tag Brown before his feet reach the plate? Looks like on replay he did.
I'm still astonished by the throw by Peguero because he's angling in, had to straighten up his body. The normal reaction of making a throw like that is going to tail through the left-handed batter's box, but that stayed straight as a dart right on target. And Scott, you played outfield in the big leagues. How difficult is it to square up and make a throw like that?
Well, it's tough to square up, number one, to make the throw. You do have the shorter porch with the blue monster there. He's just playing in. But I'm impressed with his mobility and moving that far laterally, gathering himself, staying under control, and throwing a perfect strike to Quintero. That's a big league throw.
First assist in a Paw Sox uniform by Peguero as Lee now with a 1-1 count. As the Bulls an inch from drawing first blood. But the fang missed the vein. Schaefer, the lead runner at second. Hawk averaging 231. He's driven in 14. Cicchini will try to chase this one down. It's about 4 rows in. Seen a couple of great catches out of the Durham Bulls fans already tonight.
Lee's on the 40-man for the Rays. He's a slick fielding shortstop. The question is, can he make the routine play? But you'll see flashes of brilliance when he's making some wild plays that take him left and right. Speed was the criteria for him. That was one of his main tools. And when he hurt his knee, that really set him back. He took all last year rehabbing that knee, but is finally getting back to square one. We're seeing him steal bases and really being aggressive on the bases, and that's the Hawk 2 Lee that the Rays knew of and know is in there. And it's going to be important for him to continue to do that, utilize his speed to get back into the Rays' plans, but get that call up.
Quintero out to talk with Couch, who was calling his catcher out there. And that's really come up because in discussions over the last week or so when Cabrera went down with his injury with Tampa Bay over the weekend. That happened on Saturday. You really had 3 options with Lee, with Franklin, and with Tim Beckham, all on the 40-man and all able to go fill in at shortstop. Now, Lee has never been in the big leagues with Tampa Bay. Beckham and Franklin have. And Lee swings through the breaking pitch and strikes out to end the inning. A major threat by the Bulls, but an equally major throw from Carlos Peguero in left field. Just nipped Brown at the plate. We're done with 2 and still scoreless in Durham. Series opener, Bulls and Pawtucket. We'll get this game started thanks to our friends at Napa Walker Auto and Truck Parts. Visit your local Napa Walker Auto and Truck Parts for all of your auto needs. Robert Zarate, fairly clean outing through the first couple of innings. He struck out 3, allowed just a nick of an infield single off the bat of Peguero in the second. And he will face Jabile Weeks to begin the third. Weeks 196, 5 RBIs, 5 steals. He's played all over the diamond for Kevin Bowles. Wild one to the backstop, 2-0. Paw Sox certainly needed that All-Star break more than just about any other team in the league. Dropping 12 of their last 13 games. Which means at the time of that awful losing streak that Kevin Bowles couldn't even remember how long it went. It went so long. They were a game under 500 and only 5 games out of the North Division lead when that inopportune losing skid began. 3-0. So they went winless from June 29th until they beat Lehigh Valley in July the 11th. In between, they lost 11 straight. And it's not as though the games were tight and one play lost them games, as Weeks draws a walk to begin the third. And they were outscored by about 50 runs. They had an opportunity, Scott, to break the streak. They were up 8-1 in the contest. Blew it in the middle innings and then got beat in extras.
I remember talking about that when we were going down the Herald-Sun scoreboard. That game popped up, and it's been a tough run for the Paw Sox. We're glad to see the All-Star break come and hope that that could shake things up for themselves. They got a start to this inning as Weeks is aboard with speed with nobody out.
And here is the AAA debut of shortstop Marco Hernandez. Hernandez, a AA All-Star in the Eastern League, MVP of that game just the other night. And now this 22-year-old joining the team is immediately the youngest guy on this roster. Swings away, sends it toward the bullpen. Boog Powell into the bullpen, and this time he doesn't dive into the crowd. He lets this ball sail 4 rows in. If you were with us on Sunday, the Bulls were taking on Gwinnett. Boog Powell, in an extra inning game, raced from left field about that amount of distance, up and over the bullpen mounds, dove into the second row and caught the ball, skinned his knees, bruised the area underneath his eye, made the catch, made SportsCenter's top 10 list at number 2 the next day. But later in that same inning, a home run given up and the Bulls lost.
The Bulls did lose, but an incredible catch, one of the better ones you'll see here at the DBAP. And dove being the operative word. He did not break stride. He didn't fall into the stands. He dove and then ended up on the poor fan's lap.
He attacked the stands and the wall.
And she got the ball after all was said and done, but he did make the catch. It was an incredible effort, but he did not miss a beat. Went straight into the stands, over the wall, and dove into it. It's pretty impressive to watch, but more impressive to see that he came away with the ball.
1-2. Blocked by Malin. And in this world of viral videos, if you haven't seen it, just Google Boog Powell diving into stands or catch against Gwinnett Braves. It'll pop up, trust me. And it's worth the view. And speaking of the view, after that game, it went down into the clubhouse. As you might imagine, Powell was laid out on the training room table. I couldn't see him.
A few ice bags?
Yeah, he had towels and ice bags on his shins. He had an ice pack, as Zarate is called for a balk by Brian Broadway. So Weeks down to second. And there's an ice pack on the cheek of Boog Powell. I said, what are you going to do now with your All-Star break? He said, I'm going to rest. Rest by the pool. 2-2 on Hernandez. And down he goes. And another left-handed batter takes strike 3 from Robert Zarate. One gone.
Hernandez was looking for something else. I think he was looking for the breaking ball. Zarate tried to put him away with that earlier. He laid off, but this is a fastball right down Broadway. And it's cannot pull the trigger. And that's just Zarate and his tough delivery. He tried to sell that ball being inside, but it wasn't. Zarate hits the spot and gets a strikeout after the ball.
No score, third inning, and here is Daniel Nava. Takes a strike after he struck out looking against Zarate in the first inning. Weeks out in second base, plenty of speed. And Nava, one of those memorable pro baseball stories. Strike two taker. Undrafted out of Santa Clara, went the independent ball route. Was out, I believe, in the Western Baseball League. Out in California, tore it up, at least got notice. Red Sox signed him. And just hit everywhere he went. Ultimately reached the big leagues. On the very first pitch he saw in the big leagues, Nava hit a grand slam. A guy who people had overlooked several times, not just once. Now Nava, 32 years old. Trying to get back to Boston and to help this Red Sox surge. And it was just a few weeks ago when people were counting Boston out and saying who are they going to deal here by the end of July. Popped him up, foul grounds, and still 1-2 on him. I saw with Kevin Bowles before the game today. They said, do you have any indication on what the Red Sox are thinking? You know, who they may go after? And he's like, we have no idea. There's been such a Jekyll and Hyde season for the Red Sox. But they have been giving auditions to plenty of guys. For the Rays, at least, it's been, for the most part, injury-related. But for the Red Sox, it's been more performance-related. 1-2 again. And now gets that back leg out of the way.
The Red Sox looking to push the right buttons, and as everybody knows, on paper, the Red Sox were the team to beat before the season started. They haven't yet been able to put it together, but have gone on the nice run, and really anybody in the East has a chance, especially with the 2 wild card playoff format now. It's such a competitive division. Just kind of wait for one team to separate themselves. Nobody has yet.
And down goes Nava again. Zarate has faced 10, and he has already struck out half of them.
Zarate going with the changeup here, lefty on righty. Nava on the other side of the plate. That ball just dives just a bit towards the hands of Nava. Gets in on it. Not able to make contact, and Zarate continues to cruise.
Now Zarate can retire one more lefty. He'll keep this game scoreless. As it's into the second base hole, Ryan Brett has it. Bradley is out, and Zarate strands his second of the game. Pitches around a leadoff walk and a balk. And after 2.5, still scoreless in Durham. Zero-zero game in the bottom of the third. If the Bulls score 4 or more tonight, tomorrow go online to papajohns.com. Use the promo code 4BULLS. That will get you 50% off your regular menu price order. Papa John's, the official pizza of the Durham Bulls. Luke Maile begins the Bulls third and takes strike one from Couch. Maile 188, 4 homers. He's knocked in 13. And a break them all low. Well, we alluded to this a little bit earlier, Scott. But when the Bulls took on Pawtucket up at McCoy Stadium very early in the year, that combination you're looking at, Maile and Quintero, had a very unique incident up at McCoy Stadium. The Bulls had a runner at second base, breaking to try and steal third. Quintero caught the pitch, and the throw toward third was not around the body of Maile standing in the batter's box. The throw was into Maile's body and caught him right in the stomach. Words were exchanged. Maile went down. Quintero then shook out his throwing hand as if he had made contact against Maile and had hurt himself as Maile swings and pops one up. Weeks had gone into the outfield grass. Now he bullies Nava off the play and makes the catch. One away. And there was a second incident later in that game, and Quintero slid, perhaps spikes up into second base on a base hit into the outfield that Hot Julie didn't care for. For the rest of that series, after the benches had cleared and almost crossed both of the foul lines, we didn't see Quintero the rest of the series. Lee tries to surprise Cicchini, bunts foul.
That's part of Boog's game, is he's going to try to bunt at least once a game. The guy hustles at all times. And if he sees any chance at a base hit, Cicchini's in, but he's up the line. So Powell figures if he can get the ball down the line, he's got a base hit, but he gets that one to skirt foul.
He tries to bunt again. And this is information gathering stage for really each team against batters, pitchers they haven't seen this year. And again, when the Bulls took on Pawtucket a few months ago, Powell's down at AA Montgomery. The Red Sox do not have a AA affiliate in the Southern League. 1-2 now on Powell. So they're trying to figure out exactly what Powell's strengths and weaknesses are. And so far, the pitchers haven't had an easy time doing that. Powell's reached base each of his first 14 AAA games. And he's not going to reach base here. Soft pop fly to center field. Bradley has. Powell is 0 for 2.
Well, like many leadoff hitters, it's advantageous for pitchers to get Powell to hit the ball in the air. Powell's most effective when he hits the ball on the ground, uses his speed. But with 2 strikes, it's another breaking ball from Couch, and he lifts it into the air. And that's the case. All bets are off. Powell's not going to drive the ball out of the park consistently. He's got some pop. He could potentially hit a few, but that's not how he's going to make his money.
Brian Brett struck out against Couch in the first inning. Couch trying to pick up the pace a bit. Good carry through the bottom of the zone, and he's up 0-2. Brett, speedy infielder who is designed to get some time in the outfield this year, leaving spring training by Tampa Bay. Quickly, Brett was called to the big leagues by the Rays for the first time in his career. That came right in the middle of April. Went up, played for a period of games, injured his shoulder, went on the DL. And then by the time he came back to the Bulls on a big league rehab in late May, he was back for the most part on the infield. We've seen him a couple of more games in the outfield, but at this stage of the year, I don't think the development of Brett in the outfield with 5 games in center field, 90 games into the year is what the Rays had really envisioned.
Well, a dynamic I don't think they counted on was the development of Taylor Moderer as well.
Slider takes care of Brett for the second time tonight, and Couch rolling equally as well. I got a big throw from his left fielder Piguero to get him out of harm's way in the second. And back in control, the 25-year-old from Elmont will head to the 4th, still scoreless. Scoreless game, top of the 4th inning. Beautiful Durham, North Carolina. Robert Zarate and Keith Couch matching up so far 0 for 0. Couch has struck out 3. Zarate 5 punch outs through 3 clean innings. And Bulls fans, if you're out drinking alcohol tonight, I guess this will also apply for Paw Sox fans. A lot of them in attendance tonight. Don't get behind the wheel. Catch a ride with a sober driver. Take a taxi or use public transit to get home safely. Remember, drivers, if you booze it, you stand to lose a lot. Rusney Castillo begins the 4th for Pawtucket. Castillo struck out looking in the first. Seen Zarate in that 92-93 range with his fastball. Long chopper. Lee will play aggressively. Still got the in-between hop. But soft hands by Lee have never been questioned. 1 away.
It was a glimpse of Lee's ability. He can play some shortstop, and he comes in and knew to time that on the short hop. Fielder can better predict that if they do get it on the short hop. It's not going to take a weird hop, and Lee instinctively timed it as he saw the high hop come off of Castillo's back. Fine pick and an easy throw. Once he makes that pick, good job by Lee.
Now the cleanup man, Carlos Piguero, owns the only hit tonight for Pawtucket. He's had some aggressive looks at the fastball from Zarate, but he keeps feeding it to Piguero up and trying to stay middle away.
Well, he's staying away. He's saying, Piguero, if you're going to get a good swing on it, you're going to have to hit it to left field.
There's the breaker.
Anybody like Piguero was going to try to hook the ball. They're going to snap hook it, and they've got a pull swing. And so that plays right into that slider. Throw the fastball away, then throw the slider. And Zarate finds himself up 0-2.
Massages one over Lee. Can he get there? Yes. Good concentration by Lee. And the shift played in the Bulls' favor as well there against the lefty. Lee was almost behind the second base bag, but shortened the distance to be able to run that ball down.
Well, with 2 strikes, Zarate's trying to work this ball in. I think it catches too much of the plate, but Maley was setting up there. Credit Piguero for getting inside of that pitch and trying to make something of it. He nearly fights it off for the base hit, but Lee is there.
And he never saw Lee's eyes unlocked from that baseball. Right off of the bat. Took the right route. And Zarate is now retired 5 in a row. Alan Craig, the DH. Breaking pitch on the opening delivery from Zarate.
Craig has the hardest hit ball tonight off of Zarate. He lined out to Lee his first time up.
And Zarate jumps on him 0-2. Craig hit only 135 up with Boston this year. Really struggled against right-handed pitchers. It's been a common thread for a lot of the guys who are right now wearing Pawtucket uniforms instead of Boston. That one almost finds the camera well. For the struggles that Craig had, that Bradley had, that Castillo had, all against righties in the big leagues. That's what we were talking about with the Red Sox trying to audition guys who can be productive from that side of the plate.
Well, different reasons for all, but Craig may have the league issue. He was used to pitchers in the National League now coming for the most part. I know there's interleague every night now, but for the most part, you're seeing entirely new pitching staffs and ways of pitching. And that could have contributed to Craig's struggles in Boston.
Ball and 2 strikes on Craig. Now 30 years of age. And the 1-2. Hit hard into the shift. Lee to his left. Throws out Craig. And another routine inning by Robert Zarate. He's only seen 2 base runners through 4 innings. He is doing his job. But it's the Bulls and Paw Sox. There's never a blowout in this season series. Scoreless after 3.5. Is set here in Durham. Last of the 4th, and a no score. Pawtucket, Aaron Sabia, Corey Brown will come up. Bulls have 2 hits. Pawtucket with 1 on the infield. And Mikey Matuk looking for a big second half here for Durham. Matuk 223 coming in. He's been up and down a couple of times with Tampa Bay this year. 1-1 on Matuk. Last day of the Major League All-Star break. Teams get into their collective cities. And we resume full throttle tomorrow. 2-1 on Matuk. The North Division leading Rochester Red Wings hosting Lehigh Valley. For about the first 2 months, Lehigh Valley was the worst team in the league as Matuk lines it off the hands to left field, chasing Piguero back, but makes the catch a couple of steps in front of the warning track. Could not quite get extended on that pitch.
Couch did a good job of locating as he throws that sinker that was well in. Matuk tries to pull his hands inside the ball to drive it. He hits it hard. Piguero's there to run it down. Good pitching and good location by Couch.
Aaron Sebian looks at a strike. Rochester leading Lehigh Valley 3-0 as they play the 4th. They open up action with a 1.5 lead on Scranton. 1-1. Indianapolis, your leader in the West. A 2-game lead on the surging Columbus Clippers. They finish off a sweep of the Indians over the weekend. They've won 6 in a row. They're within 2 games now. It's just off the corner, 2-1. Indy opens at Toledo tonight. And with a 2-0 lead. Second place Columbus in Buffalo up 2-0 as well. 2-2 on Aaron Sebia. Meanwhile, the Charlotte Knights knocked off Norfolk on Sunday, which vaulted them over the Tides into first place by a half game. They resume that series tonight. Charlotte up 3-1 on Norfolk in the fourth. Bulls are 4 games behind. Gwinnett trails by 6. Ground ball towards short. Sliding cut off Cicchini. Throws out Aaron Sebia. Second time we've seen Cicchini range far to his left and play ball in a similar style.
Well, he slides into it, but comes up with the ball, and that's an effort to get to a throwing position quickly. Cicchini does. Stops, pirouettes, and then after the pivot, a strong throw across the infield. Showing good defensive range. Style works for him. He's made the play each time.
Corey Brown with the infield back, but he bunts right back to Couch. Bare hands, throws out Brown to retire the side. Idea was good. Execution was poor. He was trying to bunt it toward Cicchini, who was sprinting in when Brown showed bunt. A 1-2-3 inning for Keith Couch. Done with 4 for Durham. Still 0-0. Beautiful midsummer's nights here in Durham. We begin the 5th inning. 0-0 score. Zarate and Couch heads up through 4 innings, 3 hits given up. And the big defensive play turned in by Carlos Peguero, although Hawk Julie, at shortstop for the Bulls, has come through with a couple of nice defensive gems. And we'll welcome into the broadcast Will Fleming, broadcaster for the Pawtucket Red Sox. Will, great to have you here. Welcome back to Durham.
Thanks so much, Patrick. Gracious of you to have us on, and always love coming here.
Strike one from Zarate on Cicchini. And with the broadcast across North and South Carolina on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel and NESN up in the Northeast, as Zarate throws one over the head of Cicchini. It was an off-speed pitch over his helmet. Bring our Bulls fans up to speed on the state of the union for the Paw Sox and what has been a challenging 2015.
Yeah, just the Saturday before the All-Star break snapped the second longest losing streak in franchise history, 12 games in a row, and really the Paw Sox found different ways to lose just about every night, whether the offense didn't show up, the defense was really sporadic in that time. It felt like a big win, although they lost the last before the break. It's just been one of those things, Patrick, where the offense you would have thought coming in was going to hit, but they just have not. They're last in the league in hitting. Guys like Aaron Cicchini, who is on an upswing, but those numbers for Cicchini are so far below what everyone expected.
3-1 now on Cicchini. At first blush, you take a look at the lineup that Kevin Bowles sends out there. Pretty daunting. Guys with good histories, good pedigrees, success in this league, success in the big leagues. Rolled off the end of the bat down to third. Schaefer throws out Cicchini by a step. So really, what has been the issue? Has there been one linking feature between the struggles of the offense?
I think it's hard to say. No. I mean, I think as is so strange in this magical, weird game that we love so much, it's just contagious. And I don't think that you can really look that much more into it than that, where the team as a whole has just not hit. I mean, you look at Jackie Bradley, the all-star off this roster. He's the one guy who consistently all year has hit, but it's just not been enough.
A piece of hitting by Quintero drives a fastball the other way. Just the second hit against Zarate, and the first one to reach the outfield grass.
But if you talk to Kevin Bowles, the skipper of this team, one thing that's really frustrated him is that this team has not been a good fastball hitting team. And it's not been a good swing at fastball team. And in today's game, the way that bullpens are constructed, the way that counts have been maneuvered by starting pitchers, he's really trying to impart to his guys, if we get a fastball early in counts, we got to be ready to swing the bat.
All right, here is Jamal Weeks. Quintero on, 1 out. We're in the 5th. Visiting with Paw Sox broadcaster Will Fleming. Strike to the knees on Weeks. And I talked with Kevin a bit. I was surprised with the travel that he has had to get here to Durham today. He was standing up. The sunglasses were on. It was mostly a one-way conversation with me. I thought he was falling asleep like a horse, and I wouldn't have blamed him at all. Weak bounce the ball down the line. Aaron Sebia, a tough throw up to second. The relay will not double Weeks. But a strong peg cuts down the lead runner. .336 on the putout, and Weeks is aboard. So I wouldn't have held that against Kevin had he fallen asleep. He said he was on about an hour and a half sleep, trying to get out of Omaha. There was some weather that kept him up late after he was the de facto pitching coach for the International League yesterday in Omaha. But he says the attitude of his team is still upbeat. They're very positive. Maybe that emanates from the run that the Boston Red Sox have been on the last couple of weeks, or maybe it's something else.
And I think it emanates from him, from the skipper. And this is a veteran group with a lot of happy-go-lucky type players. They have not taken this personally, and the attitude and the atmosphere, as you say, has not changed at all. That's been the interesting thing about it, and really the positive thing about it is that some of these veteran players, like Quintero, like Matt Spring, they've kept the mood light. Bowles is just a baseball rat. He loves it. His father managed in the big leagues, longtime front office executive. Today, I guarantee you, in the Omaha airport at 10:30 this morning, he was itching to get to the D-back. I mean, he's that kind of guy. He wants to get to the ballpark as early as he possibly can.
Swing by Hernandez, pulled down the right field line, and this will find the stands. And it is 0-2 in Hernandez's second ever AAA at bat. Was leading the league in hitting in the Eastern League. He won the MVP of the All-Star game just, yesterday? And new to the organization, player to be named later in the deal with the Cubs and the Red Sox. What have you heard about him and his skills?
He's one of these guys who just comes up and reports over and over again. We saw him in spring training playing up at the AAA club. You talk to all the folks in the Red Sox organization, he's like found money. And they have been so impressed with him. He's a little bit big for a shortstop, but he's handled that. He's worked very hard. He knows the defense needs to improve, but he's just swung the bat.
Protects the play there, still 0-2.
And I think it's been an impressive .326. It's not just that he's led the league down at AA in hitting, but he's done it with some pop, a good slugging average for him. And he's a kid that, look, is all of a sudden kind of vaulting onto a lot of radar screens.
And is the expectation the shortstop job is his on a day-by-day basis the rest of the year?
I don't think so, because Devin Marrero is up in the big leagues and Dustin Pedroia is still on the DL. He'll come off in Anaheim tomorrow. So I think Dustin is still the guy that everybody views. As the everyday, Devin Marrero is the everyday shortstop here in Pawtucket. So I would say that Hernandez maybe play a little bit of second base. Sean Coyle, who is down on a rehab in Florida, may get some reps there. So good to see Marco get the promotion, but I do think it's Marrero's job at short.
Still a 0-0 game in the fifth. Hard to find an empty seat tonight at the D-BAP. Always the case when Pawtucket comes to town. Blocked again by Maley and a notion by Weeks to advance, but thought better of it.
And it always is just such an incredible vibe here at this ballpark. It's just a buzz, and surely being toward the weekend in the middle of the summer has something to do with that. But this, every time we come here, it's just a different energy.
Well, you get it at McCoy Stadium as well as a visiting broadcaster, as a visiting member of the Durham Bulls. The players' field certainly different with the age and the character of McCoy Stadium. But as diehard of a fan base as you're going to find anywhere in pro sports.
Yeah, and one of the things that I love about working at McCoy, and I noticed it when I was a visitor there too, is just that it's not that there's energy, it's not that there's attention paid, but it's particular attention.
Just beyond the leap of Zarate, tough play, and a smart decision by Hottinger Lee. As well as Hernandez runs, there is no opportunity for anything positive to happen if Lee makes that attempt.
I totally agree. That's the right play. Just put it in the back pocket and swallow your medicine a little bit. But just to finish that thought on McCoy, I don't know any minor league ballpark where the fans are more dialed into what's actually happening on the field. I mean, you go to a lot of places where there are a lot of fans that are packing the place, but they're more in attendance for what's going on around the ballpark. It's more of a social event. And that's not to say that folks don't have a great time at McCoy, but they are into the game and the players.
All right, 2 on for the first time tonight against Zarate. And here is rehabbing Daniel Nava, who has not had two particularly promising at-bats against Zarate. We'll see how the big leaguer adjusts. Slider upstairs from Zarate.
You know, Patrick, Zarate's been right around the plate. It doesn't look like he's got overpowering stuff, but he continues to get bad-looking swings.
Yeah, he's still a relative unknown for the Tampa Bay Rays. but gets out, shows good confidence on the mound. There's a blow by against Nava, 1-1.
Well, with the numbers against lefties, you'd have to think he profiles as a bullpen type guy if that's what it comes to.
Weeks out at second, Hernandez at first. Zarate just now reaching 80 pitches, went 102 in his last outing. Still plenty in the tank. Big spot though. And it's 1-2 on Nava.
You know, this is sort of an interesting spot for Nava because Chili Davis, one of the great switch hitters of his generation, the new Boston hitting coach, he came over. Victorino abandoned switch hitting. Nava for a time did. But he hurt himself swinging the bat from the left side against a left-handed pitcher, so he's gone back to it. He's going to switch hit again. He just doesn't feel comfortable yet going left on left, and maybe it benefits him here.
Chance to do some damage. 2 outs, 2 on. And Maley for a 4th time stunts a pitch in the dirt.
You know, it's amazing. Chili Davis, the switch hitting guru in a lot of ways, comes over, and now Pablo Sandoval is only batting left-handed. So this was a team that had a lot of switch hitters. He's tutored Blake Swihart quite a lot, who's up in the big leagues, of course, and now on a rehab in Double-A Portland. But it's amazing that so many guys have sort of given up the ghost.
Delivers a very persuasive argument. I'm sure he's a great debater in high school.
Yeah.
Line by Lee in the left. Weeks being waved. Powell's throwing a hot. Maley does not get the tag. 1 inch in favor of the Paw Sox on the throw by Peguero in the 2nd inning. And 1 inch against the Bulls in this 5th inning on Boog Powell trying to cut down Weeks. 1-0 Paw Sox.
I thought it was a great slide by Weeks there to come to the front side of the plate, and maybe he got a toenail on the plate. I thought real time coming down the line, the throw beat him by plenty. I thought he was going to be out.
Maybe Mr. Batter with that glove, got the elbow before Weeks slid in, but a very authoritative call by Brian DeBraware.
You know, it's interesting. I thought maybe that in the top half of that 2nd inning, I thought Brown might have been safe at the plate. I thought the foot touched the plate before the glove on the hip, and that was a very similar looking play.
We'll take one more look. Maley has it as Weeks is just beginning to stretch into that slide. Zarate's ready to walk back to the dugout. He thought the inning was over. And Sandberg, for the 2nd time tonight, loses a controlled discussion with DeBraware. Meanwhile, on the throw home, Hernandez wisely went to 3rd. And this ball is slugged into right center. Bradley has made it a 2-0 game. And now overrunning the ball in center is Brown. This will cost the Bulls another run. Nava in to score. To 3rd slides Bradley. And from a 0-0 game going to the bottom of the 5th, instead, still top 5, and the Paw Sox lead by 3.
And talk about a game of millimeters, because you're looking like you're about to get out of the inning and keep this game scoreless, called safe, and then the next hitter, Bradley, really makes you pay. And Corey Brown is a guy that Paw Sox fans are familiar with, and he just sort of flubbed that running to his left.
And jumped right off the wrist, rolled away. Single and RBI for Bradley Jr., his 18th. The error on Brown in center field, allowing Nava to score. And Bradley just kept on running all the way to 3rd. And Kyle Snyder, the former world champion with the Red Sox, out to console Robert Zarate. Because regardless of how this game plays out, Zarate and Snyder and Sandberg will look back on that Boog Powell throw and wonder if that out is called, how this game plays out.
And I've been impressed with him. I mean, again, the stuff doesn't jump out at you, but he has made a lot of pitches. And, you know, did he make a mistake to Nava? Maybe a pitch up, but with a 2-strike count. And Jackie really turned on that one into right center field. But it's not like there's been a lot of hard contact in this game. I think overall the report on Zarate for tonight to this point and beyond has been a very good one.
So it is 3-0 Pawtucket. Bradley at 3rd. And Jim Miller, the first man up in the bullpen for Durham. Castillo 0 for 2. And a spiked slider by Zarate. And Maile is being tested harder and harder. He's gone from the ACT to the SAT to the LSAT to the MCAT on these wild pitch blocks against Zarate.
And he's aced all of them.
I mean, that was 7 feet in front of home plate.
Incredible.
Saves a run.
And it's interesting. This is the first time that Zarate has looked a little bit erratic.
Guides that one across, 1-1.
You know, Kevin Bowles a week ago moved Jackie Bradley down in the order because Jackie had consistently been the offensive producer for Pawtucket, trying to get him in more RBI spots. This is the first time he's batted second, and it paid dividends there.
Check swing, strike. And when Zarate was pitching well earlier in the game, he was living down there. Good life through the bottom of the zone, keeping the ball down. And you're right, he's made a couple mistakes up here in this 5th inning.
Well, and look, the inning extends on a little dribbler chop over his head off the bat of Marco Hernandez.
Two and two on Castillo.
I do think hitters need to be in swing mode against Zarate because he is around the plate. Now, this at bat notwithstanding, I thought in the first inning and the second, the first time through that order, Paw Sox hitters maybe a little bit tentative. Maybe that's part of just trying to get the book on Zarate.
Yeah. You're trying to feel him out, sure. 2-2. And that gets away from Maile. Here's Bradley scampering home, and he's in. 4-0 Pawtucket. And Zarate just cannot get this 5th inning to close. And for the first time, throws one past Maile.
And that was more like the PSAT. Of all the ones he's blocked, that one was the best chance he had to make a play. Not that it was an easy play, but it took a low hop on him and skipped off the glove.
That'll be a wild pitch against Zarate. How about Bradley on that slide, almost covering his head, maybe expecting a low throw from Maile coming?
Well, this is so different from McCoy with the limited foul territory. You got to be ready for balls to bounce off the brick.
And there is a walk to Castillo. 2-out base runner, Castillo on. Zarate trying to hit the reset button before he exits this 5th inning. Miller is ready to go for Durham. Snyder takes a glance down into bullpen. Sandberg appears as though he's going to give Zarate one more hitter.
I think he's fortunate this is a left-handed slugger who does not see the breaking ball out of a left-hander's hand all that well.
Strike one on Figueroa.
Carlos has been sort of a boom or bust hitter for Pawtucket this year. I mean, he's had enormous games, one at McCoy, one in Gwinnett, where he's got 2 homers in 3 innings.
Hard chopper smacked up the middle. Lee the long way to Aaron Sebia. And mercifully, this 5th inning is over. An inch away from hanging another 0. 5 minutes later, 4 runs on the board for the Paw Sox. Middle of 5, Pawtucket with the first lead of the night, 4-0. Four spot in the top of the 5th for Pawtucket. And Robert Zarate and the Bulls were this close to keeping it a 0-0 game. A soft hopper over Zarate's head kept the inning alive for an infield single. And then on Daniel Nava's 2-strike hit out to left field, Boog Powell's throw on line. The tag evidently just a hair late by Luke Maile. That allowed Weeks to score the first run. And then Pawtucket followed up with 3 more. So Keith Couch up for Zip as he faces Richie Schaefer. And Schaefer takes a strike. It's a 1-1 count on the Bulls' third baseman.
Well, it's interesting, Patrick. You and I were talking before we came on air about what it is about the offense for Pawtucket. And a lot of it was just an inability to string together innings like the one we just saw. 4 hits in an inning. That just did not happen a lot over that 12-game losing streak. But then as we wound toward the break, the 4 games before Sunday, Pawtucket had 48 hits. So there were some signs that maybe they were going to come out of hibernation.
That was last year around this time when Pawtucket was able to turn around its year. It was a springboard win right before the All-Star break that catapulted them to a double-digit winning streak. As Schaefer draws a walk to begin the Bulls' 5th inning. Is there a streak in this Paw Sox team like that? You're 12 back in the wild card, 10 back in the divisional race. Certainly a much more daunting situation this year than last.
Yeah, I think the number of teams you'd have to overcome to make a run at it is another element of it. I think what happened last year is so remarkable when you think about all of the guys that came up from Portland and contributed directly to that championship run. Guys like Cicchini and Owens.
On the bounce to second, Weeks to Hernandez. Not enough on that throw. Franklin reaches on the fielder's choice.
So maybe somebody like Marco Hernandez gives them a lift. Now the other part of this, Patrick, is that right now Blake Swihart is on a rehab in Portland, but as Ryan Hannigan has come off the DL, he's going to be the everyday catcher for the Boston Red Sox. Blake was rushed to the big leagues. He's handled it brilliantly by all accounts, just kind of thrown into the deep end ahead of schedule, particularly defensively. But now you got Sandy Leon, who doesn't have options. You got Swihart, so who knows? He could be back. And if Blake Swihart is in the middle of this lineup, all of a sudden things do look dramatically different. And you just don't know what the Red Sox will do with someone like Daniel Nava, the return of Marrero. And so, yeah, they could. I think Pawtucket could make a real run, but it just depends on who's here.
One out, one on. Hot and Julie in the box. Miller's throwing again in the Durham pen, so Zarate is going to be done after 5. And the Bulls will try to chisel into a 4-run deficit. Franklin bluffs. Lee gives the stop sign as Quintero digs the pitch. Tell me about matchups with Pawtucket against Rochester and Scranton in particular, assuming Swihart comes back. First off, head-to-heads, how often do you meet the rest of the way, and how does the team match?
We're going to see a lot of those teams in August and in late July. The North Division is that way.
Lee goes the other way. Peguero plays it on a hop. Third Durham hit of the night. And now 2 on, 1 out, and a little pressure on Keith Couch.
Yeah, we'll see how Couch handles this, because at times it has been big innings that have really overwhelmed him. 4 runs, 5 runs. And if you look at his last 3-4 starts, sometimes he's given up 9-10 hits and been burned. Other times he's been able to skate through, like his last time out. Just give up 2 runs on 9 hits. And so they can come in bunches. And this is, as you say, a big test for Couch.
All right, so here is Luke Maley. Popped out his first time up.
But I really like Scranton's team. Rochester, too. Both those teams have really good, deep lineups. And it's going to be a tall order for Pawtucket. Now, the other part of the puzzle, Patrick, is Brian Johnson. Just got called up 2 days before the break. There's some speculation he'll get the start for Boston in Game 4 in Anaheim, either Johnson or Justin Masterson. But the Red Sox have had a pattern of trying to reward guys for strong first halves, and they'll give them a spot start out of the break. Whether or not Johnson sticks, I think, remains to be seen, and that, of course, is a big part of the plot line in the second half.
2-1 on Maley.
What's the feeling with the Bulls? Are they going to make a run again?
It's a really strong division, top to bottom. It hasn't been a strong division top to bottom in years. Usually there have been 2 teams. The Bulls have kind of been the forerunner, and they've had one team trying to chase them down. The other 2 have been waiting for the draft lottery in NBA parlance. 3-1 now on Maley.
Yeah, it's pretty good when your cellar dweller's a 500 club.
Yeah. Well, the Bulls saw Gwinnett over the weekend. We'll see a lot of Charlotte. Charlotte's a slugging team. Norfolk, to me, seems to be the most well-rounded team right now in the division. As we take a look at the standings there, they just abdicated first base to Charlotte on Sunday. They're matched up again with the Knights tonight. Full count now on Maley, but they seem to have all the pieces in place. The rotation is good. Guys who have just gotten kind of a dabble of big league experience. Their bullpen is solid. They run the base. They have speed. They have power in the middle of their lineup.
We'll see them for the first time Monday. We have not yet seen the Tides.
Come back to Couch. and he will double up Nick Franklin at second base. Catch of a low liner. Couch turns it into a double play. And that will wrap up the Durham fifth inning. Will, get back to work over there, will you?
Thanks so much for having me, Patrick.
Appreciate your time and the insight. To the sixth inning from Durham. 4-0 lead for Pawtucket. That is a beautiful shot. One of the most spectacular minor league parks you're going to find in the country. Fully renovated a little over a year and a half ago. Jim Miller, the new pitcher for Durham. Zarate done after 5 innings. Pitched better than what his stat line would indicate. All 4 of those runs scored in the top of the 5th. So Miller begins the 6th, facing Alan Craig, the DH. Look at Miller's numbers. Almost 50 innings as we hit the All-Star break. And the veteran righty falls behind Craig 2-0. 3.26 ERA for Miller. The most frequently used reliever out of this Durham bullpen all season. This is his 28th game. It's a swing through by Craig on a fastball.
But Miller is sneaky. He'll throw 91 to 94 miles an hour. And what he does is hide the ball well. But we've seen that fastball have that carry through the zone. Up, down. We've seen a number of hitters swing tardily at the ball.
Like that one. Fouled into the stands by Craig.
And Miller has a lot of here it is, hit it if you can in him. He's not going to mess around with breaking stuff or try to finesse you. He works off the fastball, as many pitchers do, but he's very aggressive with it, especially on the inside part of the plate.
He is 2-2 on Craig, 0 for 2 in the game. Craig spoils a 2-2 fastball. Tough break for the Bulls in the bottom of that 5th. Looked like they were starting to get under the fingernails a bit of Keith Couch. The Luke Maley line went right back to Couch, who looked around. He figured he was going to have some shot in doubling up a base runner, just a matter of whom.
Yeah, on a ball hit like that, he's going to know that he has a chance at doubling off a runner. You don't anticipate that seed to the mound and get back in time.
Still 2-2 on Craig.
Runners are shuffling in their secondary lead. They know that they've got to get a jump, especially if they've got to break up a double play if that ball gets by the pitcher and somehow works its way to the middle infielder. So they're going to anticipate being aggressive rather than getting back. And an easy play once the catch was made. Looked like he just took his pick and went to get Franklin, who ventured the furthest away from the base at second.
Miller goes slider, just missed. Full counts on Craig. Even with this combo broadcast on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel across North and South Carolina, and also our friends up in the Northeast at NESN, is Craig a bullet on a fastball into center field. Single begins the 6th. We will have our Wilson Law PA trivia question. Your chance to win a couple of tickets to a future Bulls game this year, and a lot of home games coming up in August. After this Bulls 4-game series with Pawtucket ends, Durham heads on the road for the better part of the next 2 weeks. And then it essentially home for almost the rest of the year with a couple of 2-gamers, 3-game road trips, 1 5-gamer mixed in there, and that's about it. Backdoor curveball outside against Cicchini. So hop on Twitter, use the hashtag WilsonLawPA, WilsonLawPA, and we will get to the question after Cicchini's at bat. 2-0. If you've won in the last 30 days, you cannot win tonight. And if we have multiple correct answers, we will conduct a drawing and figure out who's coming out to a Bulls game on Wilson Law PA. Craig at first. An empty cut by Cicchini, 2-1. Lee meets again Giacchini. Miller raises the eye level, 2-2. Of those 4 runs in the 5th inning, 1 of them is unearned. One of them was tough to swallow, the first one. Terrific throw by Boog Powell. Bailey tried to get the quick tag on Weeks, called safe for the plates. And then it began to spin a bit out of control. Nava the base hit, compounded by the fielding error by Brown trying to scoop it up in center. 2 runs scored on that play, and then a wild pitch would bring Jackie Bradley Jr. in from third. 2-2 from Miller. And there's another terrific block by Luke Maley. He has been very active behind the plate, especially the last couple of innings, trying to snuff out pitches in the dirt.
Well, he's been quite successful except for one. The one that got away that allowed the run to score, and you can't expect him to block that one.
Paw Sox up 4. Full count. We'll see what they do with Craig at first. He holds, and a fastball fouled off one more time. Miller had that long run of scoreless pitching for better than a month, late April through May. And there's ball 4 through the dirt, getting past Maley. Single and a walk begin the Pawtucket 6th. So here's early trouble for Miller.
Well, it's a pitch down, and he pulls it inside. He pulls it to his glove hand side. Maley tries the backhand, but to no avail. Another runner's aboard, and the Paw Sox come right back after they scored 4, putting 2 on.
That brings Quintero to the plate. Single to right his last time up. He's 1 for 2. Another threat by Pawtucket as Miller goes into the dirt with a slider. Maley has to shed most of his equipment to stop that. And Miller fighting himself a bit in the 6th. And Maley will go to the mound. Got a break in the action. Let's get to our Wilson Law PA trivia question for tonight. What do you have?
Well, our question tonight is we were looking for a tie between the Rays and the Red Sox other than a brawl. They've had history of that, but it was Wade Boggs was the obvious answer. Our question is, how many of Wade Boggs' career hits were achieved as a member of the Red Sox? Good luck.
Miller again wide with a fastball. 2-0. Good question. All right, let's give the fans till the bottom of the 7th inning to submit their answers. We'll only take your first tweet at us. Again, hashtag Wilson Law PA. Foul off of the body of Quintero. Single and a walk have greeted Miller in the 6th. And this is something we've seen against Miller really over his last 4 or 5 games. Not the results of these at-bats, but he's just been battled by hitters a lot better, by the offensive hitters in the last few weeks than he was earlier in the year. They're grinding at bats. They're taking him to long counts and trying to wear him down.
Well, you've seen him get extended in some ball games, and as a result, he's missed his spots. Miller throws well, but if he misses his spot, hitters can take advantage, and we've seen that consistently. And an example is that last pitch. That's a fastball in the inner half of the plate. Quintero just misses it and had a healthy swing out. Looked pretty comfortable in doing so.
So Miller has faced 3 hitters. This is his 3rd straight 3-2 count. He's already at 21 pitches. The payoff fouled into Maley's mitts. And Miller will gladly accept that strikeout. Runners hold. 1 gone in the 6th.
Well, Miller makes the pitch when he needs to. This fastball rides up and in, but the key to this one, different between that and the one that Quintero fouled back, is this one's a little further up in the zone. Any time that the ball is above the belt, you've got to be very quick to get on top of it. If you got plus velocity, as Miller does, it's a good put-away pitch. I think somebody was called. It looked like Weeks was called for a delay getting into the box. I think they called a strike.
Yes, they did. You see the home plate umpire, Brian DeBrauer, indicate the count. So a pace of play violation against Jamile Weeks. And a breaking ball spins in, so even the count. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I think that's the first call we've seen go against a hitter in this park.
First or second. I think there might have been another one a homestand or 2 homestands ago, but very few. You're right. 1 and 2.
Mainly we've seen it called on the pitcher for not being ready to pitch when that clock expires. But Weeks finds himself trying to hit with a strike. He hadn't even seen a pitch yet.
Now the 1-2, strike 3 swinging. So down goes Weeks. He would love to have that extra strike back. Some muted applause by the fans. The scoreboard count was wrong because they didn't pick up on that pace of play strike violation. So there's very little reaction from the fans because nobody in the stadium knew that was strike 3 except for Weeks, Maley, and the home plate umpire, and Miller.
And again, Miller goes back to the fastball to put away Weeks. And he strikes out with 2 strikes that at least he saw. And he's not the beneficiary of that rule. The Bulls are. I'm waiting for the at-bat where a player strikes out because they don't get in. And I think we'll see some fireworks after the fact if that were ever the case. May have happened in the minor leagues somewhere already. Just haven't seen it. Or worse yet, have it figure into an outcome of a game.
Miller on 1-0. Pop foul by Hernandez. 4-0 Pawtucket. We're in the 6th. I love it when Andy Mazer plays along with our Wilson Law PA trivia. Broadcaster with the Cubs, with the Padres. Wasn't he with the Twins for a bit as well?
I remember him with the Padres. I can't recall if he's with the Twins, but a Chicagoan.
1-1. He fights it off. Julie strays a couple of steps into the outfield grass. Hernandez 1 of 3 in his AAA debut. And Miller strands a couple of base runners. Good work. Middle of 6. Pawtucket leads Durham 4-0. Bottom of the 6th inning, Pawtucket leading Durham 4-0. And the sky just keeps getting more and more beautiful as this night moves along. And the Bulls trying to turn the scoreboard around. They've been shut out on 3 hits by Keith Couch through the first 5 innings. And his 70th pitch of the night is over but low, ball 1. Third baseman Cicchini playing in. We've seen Powell feign or attempt at about 3 different bunts tonight. That would be a good way for the Bulls to start a rally. Full swing here and popped him up. Hernandez, the shortstop, calls off Peguero. And Powell in the air and a pop-up exactly where Couch and the Paw Sox want to see him.
You want him to get to lift the ball in the air. And the method and the madness of Powell showing bunt as he gets the infielders to move around. You have a chance to hit the ball by him if you hit it on the ground or on the line. Pop the ball in the air, can't utilize the speed. Couch is successful once again. Keeps the speedy leadoff hitter off the bases.
Ryan Brett. Ball 1 from Couch. Now, the last time Couch pitched against the Bulls earlier in the year, he came out in long relief up in McCoy Stadium. And he has a connection sort of to the triangle. Low liner, Peguero misjudged. Carries over his head. Extra bases for Brett. And a double with 1 out in the 6th inning. A shot off of Brett's bat that seemed to come straight out of the lights. And Figueroa broke in, got down below, trying to figure out where the ball was, and it sailed over.
Well, that's the advantage of having the short left field here for the Bulls. Is this is a line drive that is tough for an outfielder to pick up, number one. And then you get caught in between no man's land because in a normal outfield, you play in a little bit deeper, you have a little more reaction time, but not here. Figueroa had to make his mind up early. It's hit at him. He couldn't react. It goes over his head for a double.
And this was a rocket back down by Cicchini, but no play on Montel. And the Bulls now beginning to unleash some cuts against Couch.
Well, the ball doesn't lie. And you can see the way the ball is coming off the Bulls' bats is that either Couch doesn't have the movement or they're having a better time of picking up the ball out of his hand. This ball is scalded down the line. Cicchini does a good job just to stop it, but it hits off his glove, bounds away. That's going to allow Brett to get to third, and put runners at first and third, with the heart of the Bulls' order coming to the plate.
Cut and a miss by Aaron Seviot. Couch maneuvers away from the fastball that's cost him a couple of hits to Brett Boxell. But an opportunity for the Bulls to hit themselves right back into the game. Down by 4, but plenty of speed on the corners. 1-1.
Couch has worked that sinker, but the sinker has failed him so far in this inning. Brett hit one hard. Pawtucket does too. Started Aaron Seviot off the slider and then tried to back it up with a pitch on the outside part of the plate, but just misses.
2-1 on Aaron Seviot. Rounded out to third a couple of times. Barely any stirring in the Paw Sox pen. Back to the slider, 2-2. Couch, 25 years old. Grew up in Elmont, New York. Wanted to be a gym teacher and a coach going to college. Full count on Aaron Seviot. Instead, he got drafted. Darn the luck. After the 2010 season at Adelphi University, which is the same university that has produced Olympian Bob Beeman, but also the TV voice of the Carolina Hurricanes, John Forsman. Foul squibbed away by Aaron Seviot, still 3-2. So for all the Carolina Hurricane fans, I spent some time with Chuck Caton yesterday afternoon. They're already gearing up for mini camp, fall camp, and exhibition hockey. You get a look at the Carolina Hurricanes home run patio there. Hockey season right around the corner. Breaking ball that sat up, and Aaron Seviot just out ahead of him. Quintero noticing that hanger and tells Keith Couch in a major league way, hey, let's not do that again to this guy.
Well, that's in Aaron Seviot's wheelhouse. He has hit a number of triple balls out over this blue monster and played pepper with Diamond View 2 and the Bull out there. This one just missed by Aaron Seviot, and that'll get a catcher's attention right away.
So Couch, hey, do you like your 4-run lead? Okay. 3-2. A shot up the middle. Bulls on the board. Scoring is Brett. And Aaron Seviot just missed the previous slider. Smokes that slider from Couch right back up the box. 4-1 Pawtucket.
A lot of RBIs lie in the middle of the field. Money lies in RBIs. Both quotes from Ron Jackson, former Red Sox hitting coach. Still coaching in the minor leagues. But Aaron Seviot got this pitch up the middle, hit the slider again, hits it hard. And it's going to bring out Bob Kipper. Slow things down to get the bullpen going for the Paw Sox. The Bulls have something going in this inning. Runners at first and second, one run already across. And a hitter that the Paw Sox know very well coming to the plate.
And for Couch, with the confidence a bit shaky as he talks things over with the pitching coach of Pawtucket, Bob Kipper. They will get the bullpen going behind him. Luis Martinez Backup catcher will get somebody up. But you're not only talking about a guy they know well, but Corey Brown right now is second in the league in home runs. Behind him is Richie Schaefer, who has 21 home runs, third most in all of minor league baseball this year. A lead can evaporate in a nanosecond here if Couch is not careful.
Yeah, Brown now represents the tying run, and he could be as quick as one swing of the bat. And then you've got that formidable power behind him in Schaefer. And how Schaefer's come on the scene so quickly. We talked about his futures game, but in the league leaders of home runs, and he gave everybody else about a 5 to 6 week head start.
Off speed, low on Brown. And these home runs by Brown and Aaron Sebia, and to a degree Richie Schaefer, they have come in bushels. Brown homered in 4 straight games leading into the All-Star break as a careful strike thrown by Couch.
We're not talking fence scrapers either. These balls have been tattooed and been impressive to watch if you're a Bulls fan. I would imagine that Paw Sox fans would like to hold off on any fireworks like that.
Fox hooked the lead runner, and Brown slices one with depth to left. Peguero back, jumps up, no catch, off the base of the wall. Montauk's in. Aaron Sabia held at third. 4-2. Pawtucket in the 6th.
Brown has had a great approach against Couch his last 2 at-bats. He hit the ball extremely hard, or at least in his first at-bat. Hit the ball off the wall in left center. Now out to the pitchers next time up, but then takes this ball the other way. Off the big message board. I think he knocked out a few tiles of it. Lights went dark once the ball hit it. But he hits the ball off the base of the wall. He's going to get a double. Tying runs now at second, base open. But Richie Schaefer coming to play. Great piece of hitting by Brown. Taking Couch the other way. It's another line drive and a ball off the wall.
Brown's second double tonight. Picks up his 43rd RBI. And Josh Nance is going to bill him the electrical fees for that grid on the LED board in the Blue Monster.
Aaron Sebia was upset when he got to third base because he didn't run through Jared Sandberg's stop sign. Hindsight's 20/20. He didn't know where the ball was going to be. But I got to believe Jared Sandberg playing the right with Richie Schaefer coming to the plate. Not going to take any chances. You got 2 ducks on the pond for him. Let the kid take his swing. Should Pawtucket choose to pitch to him.
Bullpen just getting active now behind Couch, a right-hander. 2-0. And now a 3-ball count with first base open. And we've seen this a couple of times tonight for the Paw Sox with Schaefer up. They've been very careful against Schaefer. As we get a look at Jonathan Arrow down the pen for Pawtucket. That one nibbles the outside corner, 3-1. Back in the second inning, Couch fell behind Schaefer 3-1, went back-to-back sliders to get back to a full count before eventually walking it. Schaefer off the end of the bat, short center. This ball's going to land in. Aaron Sebia home. Brown to third is the tying run. The slugger loops one off the end of the bat into right center field. And the Bulls have their 5th straight hit against Couch.
It was a tough play for the outfielders, but he's got Schaefer up, who's in the league leaders of home runs, takes a full swing, but then hits it off the end of the bat. Outfielders first step back. There's no chance for Castillo or Bradley to get in to make the play. That's going to chase Keith Couch out of the ballgame. Then the Bulls out to make the switch, but the Bulls now in the comeback here. Tying runs just 90 feet away, 1 out of the inning, runners at first and third.
So Keith Couch had shut out the Bulls on 3 hits through 5 innings. He needs a lifeline. It is Jonathan Arrow. 4-3 Paw Sox lead the Bulls. But the Bulls continue to threaten when we return. Just 1 month removed from his major league debut at the Red Sox. First and third, 1 out. Nick Franklin takes a swipe at a fastball. Arrow out of the Dominican Republic, began this season in Double-A. 8 games in Portland, had a 2-8-2. 0-2 now on Franklin. A couple of fastballs from Aro.
That one elevated. Franklin liked it, but just fouled it straight back. I think Aro got away with one there. So he finds himself up in the count regardless.
A spot where a sacrifice fly ties the game. Brown, plenty of speed to tie things up at third. As you get a look at Aro's AAA numbers. 2-8-2 over 8 games with Pawtucket. 3 wins out of the pen. And the 0-2 up and away. Averaging about a strikeout per inning over his minor league career. First and third, 1 down. 2-2 on Franklin. Aro, a late signee out of the Dominican. Didn't start playing pro ball until he was 20. His first game here in the States, not until 3 years ago. And he's gone full on Franklin with runners at first and third. Franklin 1 out of 2. Schaefer at first base, full count. We'll see what Sandberg does. He holds him, and there is ball 4 on Franklin. An 0-2 walk will turn a lot of pitching coaches' hair gray. And he lets Franklin out of jail.
The big league at bat by Franklin. He saw Aro fouled a couple of pitches off, lays off some close ones, but good job by him to battle back to load the bases. And now you got Lee at the plate, who's not the easiest player to double up.
First pitch to Lee, a cut and a miss.
Best fastball from Aro that we've seen tonight. Getting loose, 93 mile an hour on the outside part of the plate. Lee is late.
Cicchini plays on the third base grass. Everybody else is back, and Lee again tardy. And he's thinking about it. Cross the plate, look down, smack himself in the leg. Breezing through that Aro fastball. Now, what will Hawk's 2-strike approach be against Aro? 1 ball, 2 strikes. And really, Scott, from Aro's perspective, he's 0-2 on another hitter. Will he be able to put one away this time?
Well, that's the pit-away pitch. That's going to be the big question. He can develop the consistency at the AAA level by doing so. He's got a live arm, no doubt about it.
Time called. Quintero, the veteran big league catcher, walks out in the mound, and he wants to discuss things here with Aro.
Well, he's not comfortable with the signs, with the runner at second base, making sure that Aro has the correct sign. Last thing that they could afford is a cross-up in this situation with the bases full of Bulls. Quintero, the Paw Sox veteran catcher, is going to take charge of the situation, make sure they're on the same page, and attack Lee.
Just a piece.
Well, we've said a lot. I know I have. The ball doesn't lie, but it doesn't look like Lee is picking up the fastball well. And you'd be doing him a favor if you're Aro by throwing him anything else. A slider that hangs your speed up his bat. So you expect him to stay with that fastball away, which Lee's had trouble with.
Another 1-2. Grounded foul down the first base line. Lee started the bat a little bit earlier there on that fastball.
Well, now Lee's seen a few of them, and he's got a better chance of making solid contact. We've seen Hawk-Ju Lee have a few at-bats this year where he's looked bad early in the at-bat and then timed some people up and hit it pretty hard.
Still 1-2. And that was not tempting enough for Lee.
It wasn't a competitive pitch. I mean, you've got to, if you're going to try to put somebody away, the ball's at least got to look like a strike for a bit. Lee knew right away, could identify that pitch and lay off. He's not going to offer it to pitch in the dirt. And nice job by Quintero to block it with the bases full.
Brown, Schaefer, Franklin, the base runners. 2-2 to Lee. Foul off. Probably the best swing Lee has had at a fastball from Aro in this at-bat.
And he's seen Aro now for a number of pitches. And so now every time that he's fouling one off, he's getting closer to getting one that he could square up.
This is about as animated as I have seen Lee in the batter's box all year. I haven't decided if that's a good thing or a bad thing. We'll see what the result is. Chases a pitch up in the zone. And Lee hangs out the tongue and walks back to the dugout.
Arl climbs the ladder and gets lead offer to pitch well out of the strike zone, but up close to his eyes. Looks big, so he's going to offer at it. But that's a tough one to make contact with. And good credit to Arl. He battles back to get the strikeout in a tough spot.
And now it takes a knock to tie things up or take the lead. 1-0 on Maley. Paw Sox up 4-3 in the sixth. Fouled off. Couch can still earn the win if Aro and Quintero can figure out how to escape in this sixth inning. And one more time, you see Quintero. He's certainly taken charge with Aro.
And Brian Brower coming out to break it up, saying, hey, you've had a couple of meetings. Let's get this straight. But either way, he's trying to get his pitcher's attention to work out of this jam.
Bailey looking for a little justice. Drilled a liner back to the mound into a double play his last time up. Takes too tight. Jordan Norberto throwing in the pen for Durham. Ground ball toward the hole. Stopped by Hernandez. No play. Tie game. Tried to turn his first AAA game at shortstop into a memorable one there. Got to the ball, and then it spilled out of his glove.
Well, tremendous play just to get to the ball. Hernandez can pick it. He's playing shortstop for a reason. Gets to this one and almost threw it from the seat of his pants. Even if he does throw it, I don't think they have a play at second base on Franklin.
Strike one on Boog Powell.
And immediately, as soon as that was seen by the fans as a base hit, they weren't boos. There were Boog's chants going as he stepped to the plate.
Swings at a pitch down in the dirt. Well, there's no question in my mind, as hard as Boog Powell plays, compounded by the electrifying catch he made on Sunday, he's going to have fans booging as long as he wears a Durham uniform. Ball inside. They love watching a guy maybe a bit undersized as well. Probably helps Boog Powell. But he'll have 10,000 rooters every home game. 2-2. Aro wanted that call.
So did Quintero.
Yeah.
He held the ball there so the Browware could see it, but Paw Sox don't get the call.
Good take. 2-2. Soft tapper foul.
I agree with you, Patrick. I think Boog has quickly gained a fan base, and I wouldn't even call it a cult following. I think it's just that the fans appreciate the way he plays in the short amount of time that they've seen him. I mean, that play the other day was an example, but not the first one that he's made that would be called a hustle play that fans appreciate.
One more foul. Plus, he has a name they can latch onto. If he went by Herschel, his given name wouldn't have the same effect.
I would agree. I don't think they'd be chanting Jim if he came to the plate. But Boog does help. Couple that, a lot of things are coming together for Mr. Powell.
2-2 again. Caught in a miss. And Aro somewhat limits the damage. The Bulls send 10 to the plate and even things up. 4-run score. New game. Norberto coming in from the Durham pen. When we return, it is a 4-4 tie through 6. On the 6th by the Durham Bulls. So both Zarate and Couch take no decisions from the night. One is happy about it, one is disappointed. And Jordan Norberto is in for Durham in the 7th inning. Jim Miller was pushed once again in terms of a high pitch count in his single inning. A walk and a base hit against him. He stranded both base runners and leaves with a couple of strikeouts. So here is Norberto. Rejoined the Bulls off of the temporary inactive list. a little less than a week ago. And he will face the top of the Paw Sox order in the 7th.
Well, capable lefty coming in. He'll throw fastball, slider. There's a change to mix in as well, but will throw strikes for the most part.
Tough indoctrination now for Norberto. Nava, Bradley, Castillo. 27th appearance for Norberto. 1-3 with 1 save and a 5.84. Signed with the Rays as he still was in recovery mode from Tommy John surgery. Missed each of the last 2 years. And that fastball with some run through the zone. 0-2 on Nava. We've seen some real strong outings from Norberto, and we've seen some difficult outings from Norberto, which are not uncommon when you're still battling back from Tommy John surgery and then a second cleanup surgery on your elbow. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Nava. Nava 1 of 3 in the game. Drove in a run in the 5th. Norberto too close. The recent history of these two organizations pretty much unparalleled in this league. The Paw Sox, they've reached the Governor's Cup Championship Series 3 years running. Long way to go to continue that domination through the IL, but it can be done. Three balls, 2 strikes on Nava. Norberto's pitch just off of the corner, and a walk begins the 7th for the Paw Sox.
The shutdown inning's important after you score. The Bulls were looking for that. Norberto was as well when he comes in, but a leadoff walk will diminish your opportunity for doing so, especially at the top of the order.
Now Jackie Bradley Jr. gets the attention of Schaefer with a leadoff base runner. Schaefer on the apron of the grass, and Bradley does fake a bunt and take low. Not to say that it's impossible for the Paw Sox. They seem to have kind of the pieces in place if they can turn the offense around and pick up some key hits. That's what this team has been lacking most of the year. And we saw Rochester overcome a double-digit deficit in the North by August 1st and had overtaken the lead very late in the season. So it's possible. It's not probable, but it's possible. The thing in the Paw Sox favor, they'll be playing within the division most of the rest of the way once the calendar turns to August. Fastball way in. Mailey asking for an appeal. He thought that Bradley, while he was hurdling that pitch, still failed to get the bat back, but declined by Reed Churchill. The thing, however, against the Paw Sox, they have 4 other teams to jump in the division. It's not as though they're 10 games back in second place. They now need to Edwin Moses high hurdle over almost the entire division. Strike 1 on Bradley. No sign of a bunt there.
I like the reference, Edwin Moses.
Appreciate that.
Ronaldo Nehemiah.
I'm in an Olympic frame of mind.
Yes, you are.
2-1. Bunt off again. And Bradley Jr. up 3-1. Now for the Bulls, it's a little bit more straightforward. 2 teams in front of them in the South. A much closer race. And they match up pretty well with each of the teams in the division. Full count. And I would probably say that the other teams feel the same.
Right. They match up well, but the advantage for the Bull is they play each a bunch at the end of the year, and a lot of them are right here in the D-back. The Bulls have paid their road debt, played a lot of games on the road to start the year, and as a reward, they're going to be in Durham a lot of August.
Full count. Nava not going. Swing and a miss. Norberto elevates past Bradley. Terrific comeback by Norberto. One gone.
Well, 3-2. Bradley's going to be looking fastball. He gets it, but oftentimes as a hitter, you'll swing at a pitch because you get what you're anticipating rather than location. And it's the elevated fastball that really looks so big to a hitter and hard to lay off of. Bradley can't stop his swing. Norberto induces the swing through with a full count and gets the out.
Reshapes this 7th inning in a radical way. Instead of 2 on with nobody out and a couple of walks. A walk, but now a strikeout. Here's Castillo. Bailey blocks that one, but a running start by Nava. The throw gets him anyway. It was a great read by Nava. Once that ball hit the dirt, Scott, he took off, but Maile pounced to his left and a rocket to the bag.
I thought once Nava took off there was going to be no chance, but how about Maile picking up and throwing in one motion, gets the ball down there quickly for the 2-4 putout. Maile showing great defensive skill tonight and blocking a number of balls, blocks this one and then the throw afterwards. He's known as a defensive catcher and shows you why.
2-0 now on Castillo. Well, this 7th inning could have spun off of the rails for the Bulls. And now all of a sudden Norberto trying to face the minimum and get the Bulls offense back to the ditch. 2, 3, and 4 due in the bottom of the 7th. Chopper through the middle. Lee alligator armed it. I think he was worried that he might run right into Ryan Brett if they both continued that collision course. Castillo on with a 2-out single.
That's precisely what happened, Patrick. Both having good range. Lee looking to see if he could lay out into the outfield and then pulls up, and so does Brett. High hopper over the middle. Brett's playing towards center field and then just stops, and it kind of froze both of them. It's a base hit, clean one, should be, but both fielders are frustrated with each other, and it brings up a pretty powerful hitter, too, to extend the inning.
Yeah, Piguero, cleanup man, 1 for 3. Infield single off of Aaron Sebia's glove in the second inning. 1-0. Now it looked like as Lee and Brett were talking things over as that ball bounced into center field, Lee tapped himself on the chest and reading lips, it looked like he told Brett, hey, that's my ball, and he's right. Because there's no way Brett going through the middle to the other side of second base with Castillo running has any kind of play on that ball.
Well, that's a highlight play for a shortstop, too, though, because their momentum is carrying them towards first base. It's an easier throw for them to make. All their momentum's going that way. Shortstop, it's carrying him into left. Second baseman carrying him into left field. Going to be the tougher play, and I think that's the conversation we saw between the two players.
Norberto home, and Piguero got around early and jams it foul. Now, just to give the counter argument for Ryan Brett on that ball, why he went after, well, as you mentioned, he's playing up the middle. Instinctively, you're chasing any ground ball. You're not thinking that's Hawk's ball. So no fault at the feet of Ryan Brett. He's just trying to go and run down a ball, but Lee in the end is right, saying the only way we get it out is if it's in my glove only. Castillo, great speed at first, and Norberto steps off. What? Time had been called. Norberto threw it to first base. Castillo caught it.
What Castillo did catch it. What Norberto was hoping was to airmail that one high, so Castillo wouldn't notice the ball was being thrown. But the problem was his first baseman didn't see it. Castillo did.
He's got good hands over there. Into the dirt. There's a set of good hands. A clean half volley by Maile. Watch this.
Aaron Sebia doesn't even know the ball is there. Surprised by it. And Castillo, I got it. Here, take it back. Time had been called. Nothing done.
Three-one count on the dangerous Piguero. Norberto home. Fastball fouled off and a full count. So this will set Castillo in motion. Tie game, 7th inning. A slugger at the plate. Big spot here for Norberto to make sure he locates this pitch.
Well, Norberto challenged Piguero there with the fastball. 3-1 came with 91 miles an hour. And got away with it. Guerrero fouled it straight back.
Aaron Seavey, meanwhile, trying to distract Castillo. As if to have him take his eyes off of when Norberto's pitching. There he goes. And that's ball 4. Second walk of this 7th inning by Norberto, which now in turn draws Maile to the mound and gets C.J. Riefenhauser up in the Durham pen.
If there ever was a player to distract at first base, there's the perfect one in J.P. Arencibia, who has a good time out there no matter what the score is and who's playing. And he's probably known as the mayor now of the International League, as he chats up everybody when they get down to first base. Sean Casey used to do that. That's how he got the nickname. He's transitioned fairly well as a broadcaster for the Major League Baseball Network. As he should, he has the gift of gab.
Did you have a nickname?
Oh, I can't say it on the air, but yes, I did. I did.
And did it follow you from big league team to big league team?
No, it didn't necessarily follow, but I've answered to a number of different things, and many not for broadcast.
I use several of those every day.
Yes, I know you do, and so does my wife.
Riefenhauser continues to get ready. Alan Craig will be the hitter for the Paw Sox. We're tied 4-4 in the 7th. By the way, 10,370 on a mid-July Thursday. That tells you the drawing attraction of the Paw Sox and the absolute allure of Durham Bulls baseball. Series continues tomorrow night, Saturday night, and then we wrap it up on Sunday. Norberto to Craig, strike 1. Craig, a gunshot of a base hit last inning against Miller. His only hit in the game. A couple of hard hit balls, however, another one against Zarate. 0-1. Bounced past Maile. Ricochets right back to him, but still no play.
See a few of those tonight. Don't know if it was the all-star break that threw off mechanics, but some pitches that aren't even close. This one was spiked well in front of the plate. The best catcher in the world is not going to be able to stop that. Luckily for the Bulls, it bounded right back off the brick wall, but runners are going to advance.
Well, the danger now is that we get a look at Luke Maile in that batter's box. He's had 2 wild pitches thrown by him. He's stopped another 9 or 10. And a wild pitch here would bring Castillo in for the lead. Pitch inside. So you wonder now, with Maile calling these pitches of Norberto, does that eliminate the slider here down in the dirt, especially if Norberto gets to a couple of strikes? First base open, 2-1 count. Way high. Cicchini next. Norberto's gone to 25 pitches, and Sandberg and Snyder in the Bulls dugout are contemplating a move for Riefenhauser should Craig reach. Four in the 7th. 3-1. Popped him up. Will get Norberto out of the inning. Schaefer behind the mound. Norberto escapes. He was walking the plank in that 7th inning, but called back to ship. No runs, 1 hit, 2 left. Stretch time for the sold-out crowd. 4-4 for Durham. Four tied, bottom of the 7th inning. And the Bulls aiming for their first lead. Brett, Pawtucket, Arencibia. Aro continues his first full inning, delivers a strike on Ryan Brett. And Scott, how important was it for Norberto and the Bulls to get through that 7th inning?
Well, you just scored 4 to tie the game. You wanted to answer.
Hard hit ball. Castillo chases. It's over. Kicks up third to the warning track. Brett with speed around second. The throw from Weeks. Offline. Triple for Brett. to launch the 7th.
Brett got a fastball away and takes it the other way. Dave Myers is going to like to see this. The hit coach for the Bulls as you got a pitch over the plate, but not a bad one. The outside part, and he put a charge into it. The pitcher throws that hard and you're quick to the ball. The ball's going to carry. This one does. Carries over Castillo's head. How about Brett? He knew that was going to be a triple right out of the box. Hustles all the way. And now the go-ahead runs at third.
And Pawtucket. That raised people to their feet quickly, right? With the infield and a blistering foul down the line.
Well, Pawtucket was ready for the fastball. Could not keep it fair, but geared up for it. Got the bat head out front. Former International League All-Star for a reason. The prospect for the Rays. Kid's got some bat speed and nearly got a hold of one there.
1-1. Quintero asking the home plate umpire again about the location of that pitch. Tied in the 7th. 2-1 on Matzo.
That said, I think Brian DeBrouwer has done a nice job behind the plate. He's been getting those calls right for the most part, but both sides are asking, which tells you that he's been consistent. You know, I haven't seen anything egregiously bad, and a lot of times these boys in blue don't get enough credit.
In the air, Castillo's way with Carey near the track. Tagging is Brett. First lead tonight for Durham. They come from 4 runs down. 5-4 Bulls on the Mattook deep sac fly right.
The hit coaches will talk about situational hitting, and this is one of those situations where you got to run it third, less than 2 out, get a ball you can elevate. The Bulls have done a great job in the last 2 weeks of situational hitting. Before the All-Star break, and it continues here. Mattook hits it deep enough, drives a run, and gets the job done.
Oh, that was a dangerous pitch from Aro. Challenging Aaron Seavey with a fastball right down the middle. Certainly Aro disappointed with the first 2 results in this inning. 1-1 on Aaron Seavey.
Good life on the fastball from Aro. Still throwing 93 miles an hour. Looking to elevate that pitch to get another swing through.
1-2.
That was more dangerous than the first fastball. That was the hanging slider. That's the one that Aaron Sebia likes, and we've seen him run into. He's frustrated because he's fouled both of them back. At least that one.
Two strikes and a ball on Aaron Sebia. An easy foul pop over the roof. Riefenhauser still getting ready for Durham. Now how big does the escape of Norberto in that 7th inning appear? He was this close to walking the first 2 hitters. And then he was probably 1 pitch away from being removed. As Aaron Sebia fists one to third. Cicchini throws him out. 2 gone. And that 7th inning certainly turned nervy for the Bulls, especially after that wild pitch.
Well, it did, and it advanced the runners to second and third. But Norberto was able to induce the pop-up from Craig as Aro gets Aaron Sebia to roll over to Cicchini at third for the second out.
Corey Brown in the box. Couple of doubles tonight. Drove in a run in that 4-run 6th. Get to the answer to our Wilson Law PA trivia question. As time allows in this 7th inning, we might back it up to the 8th. 1-1. Final line on Couch. 5 1/3, 8 hits, 4 earned runs. Struck out 3, walked 2. No decision for him. Zarate, 5 innings, 5 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned. Fan 5, walked 2. 1-2 on Brown. So those are the lines of the 2 starters. Jim Miller done, a scoreless inning. A walk, a hit, and 2 punch-outs. Now with this big shift on with Corey Brown, 3 infielders on the right side, they have just flip-flopped Cicchini and Hernandez. 2-2 on Brown. They had the shortstop, Scott, on the right side of the bag, and then they realized they wanted the shortstop on the shortstop side of the bag.
You being a former official scorer, do you make the change in the book, or is he still considered a third baseman playing the rover position?
It's a 5 playing in the 4 spot. Wave and a miss. Brown fans. Off speed sends him away. But the Bulls on a triple by Ryan Brett. And the ensuing sac fly by Pawtucket. On top for the first time. To the 8th we go. Bulls lead Pawtucket 5-4. Bayer Crop Science committed to using the latest research, finding solutions to help you live a healthier life. You see the results in the kitchen, on your lawn, and also in your neighborhood. Visit them online, BayerCropScience.us for more info. A look at C.J. Riefenhauser, the new pitcher for the Bulls in the 8th. Jordan Norberto, a scoreless inning. Couple of walks, 1 hit. 1 big pick off by Luke Maley. And Norberto in line for the win if Riefenhauser and the Durham Pen can hang on to a 1-run lead. But a long way to go as the lefty Cicchini dribbles 1 foul. Cicchini 0 for 2, drew a walk in the 6th against Miller. Riefenhauser, the 25-year-old native of New York. 14th game with the Bulls. Couple of wins, 2 losses, 3.94 his earned run average. Spent some time on the big league DL with Tampa Bay this year. And the 1-1 turns Cicchini away. Three and 1 on Cicchini. Now we saw what stress the leadoff walk in the 7th inning put on Jordan Norberto. Riefenhauser does not want to go there. And that hit him. Cicchini got it. Hits. Runs all the way toward the Bulls dugout, trying to get the feeling back in his arm. So Cicchini gets drilled on a 3-1 pitch from Riefenhauser. The training staff is out. And that fastball just got away and caught him to be in the upper right arm.
This one rides up and in. I don't think it really had a chance from the start. It looked like Riefenhauser had the release point down. This one comes up and in, and training staff for the Paw Sox are out. Checking on that elbow. It looks like the ball rode up, and the danger is he's a right-handed thrower, and this ball gets him in the thrower arm.
You see where Maley is set up. He's set up way outside, and that one just got away from Riefenhauser.
Tricep right above the elbow. That's the one that's going to tighten up. And
you can see that sensation's going all the way down the arm for Cicchini. Cicchini will stay in. Nice applause by the Bulls fans. 5th time now in 8 innings, Pawtucket has had the leadoff man on. So the Bulls have seen this kind of relentless pressure as we take one more look from the side.
Cicchini's dialed in, going to guard against the outside part of the plate, and then has to get out of the way as the ball rides up, hits him in the arm. But the leadoff base runner has been a bugaboo for the Bulls pitching staff.
Now Quintero shows his butt, stabs at it, and it's 0-1. Still a manageable inning for Riefenhauser. Even if Quintero gets the bunt down, he'll turn Weeks around and bat him right-handed and bring up the rookie shortstop Marco Hernandez. Durham by 1. Cicchini, good lead. He was going back to the bag as Riefenhauser's pitch was bunted foul. So a couple of shaky attempts by Quintero. And now based on those attempts, if I'm Kevin Bowles, I might be rolling the dice and letting Quintero swing away.
Absolutely.
And nothing's been indicated to me, if I'm Kevin Bowles, that I have confidence that Quintero can get it down. Bunt is off, and he reaches for it and loops one into the stands. Five unanswered runs by Durham. And they are on top, 5-4 in the 8th. Another 0-2 slapping the ground into right field by Quintero. Cicchini will stop at second base. And the 2 failed bunt attempts actually play into the hand of the Paw Sox. Quintero swings away. Tough pitch to get on top of here, but does, and a pitch way up and well outside and finds a hole.
Normally you don't give up hits on 0-2, and this was a good 0-2 pitch. It's not on the plate, but Quintero found a way to put it in play, hits it into the hole. I would expect the bunt definitely is on now with the go-ahead run at first. Tying run at second. And Weeks who can handle the bat.
He will square and bunts it right in front of the plate. It's fair. Mailey to Schaefer to cut down the lead runner. Sometimes your fastest guys who rely on bunt hits have a tough time deciphering between getting a sacrifice down and bunting for a hit. And Weeks does not have a sacrifice all year and put that 2 feet in front of home plate.
Yeah, he deadened it a bit too much. That's not even going to be a base hit. Should he bunt for the base hit because Mailey's on it so quickly? Got to get it out there. And could not. And it benefits the Bulls because Mailey was able to hop on that. They get the force. Double play still in order. 1 out in the inning.
And a left-left matchup for Riefenhauser. Strike 1 on Hernandez. Hernandez was leading the AA Eastern League in hitting at the time of his promotion. All-star with the Portland Sea Dogs. And the 0-1, a high foul pop. Schaefer roaming up against that brick retaining wall and no play.
Well, my sojourn over to the Paw Sox radio booth, Mike let me know that Hernandez last at bat as a Sea Dog is not going to be recorded because it was a home run in the AA All-Star game. And then he got the news he was promoted up here. His first at bat, he was greeted rudely by Robert Zarate with the strikeout, but has found a way to get his first AAA hit.
You look at his splits at AA, hit .318 against lefties, .330 against righties, but almost all the pop in his bat from the other side is a right-handed bat. 0-2, hit on the ground, Aaron Sebia bobbles, picks up, flips to Riefenhauser, and just beat Hernandez. Second and third, 2 outs. And that was a photo finish right at the bag. Riefenhauser's right foot and Hernandez's foot across the bag.
Well, that was very, very close play. Aaron Sebia had an idea of going to second to try to get the double play, but then changes gears, and I believe Riefenhauser just got there before Hernandez did. Hernandez showing good speed, but the pitcher's foot did get down, and let's give credit where credit's due. Joe Bourne got it right down at first.
A really good shots on the post 50 crew on that replay from a couple of different angles. Second and third, 2 outs.
And he had a coach on the field, J.P. Aaron Sebia, who caught a lot, knew that Riefenhauser expended a lot of energy. Taking time out, going out there, and making sure his pitcher's got his breath. Had the meeting on the mound, forced the umpire to come out, but that's leadership on the field. And we've seen it time and time again from Aaron Sebia. It's like having another coach on the field.
All right, so here's Nava. Time is called by the home plate umpire, Brian Brower. What that bobble took away from Riefenhauser, there was no chance at a double play on that ball, but it took away the force out at second base because Aaron Sebia was going to try and cut down Weeks. So now there's no force at second. And Riefenhauser's pitch to Nava in for strike 1. Tying run at third is Quintero. The go-ahead run at second is Weeks. But Riefenhauser has 2 outs in the 8th. Mahle taps the dirt with his mitt a couple of times. But the pitch is well up and away, and Riefenhauser a couple of times has badly missed his mark. And in this spot against this kind of hitter, you cannot miss up in the zone out over the plate. One inside. Kirby Yates starting to throw in the Durham pen. A right-hander finishing up for Pawtucket. Two-one pitch. At the bottom of the zone, and Nava, look at him take a step toward the home plate umpire, Brian DeBra, where he wanted to hear an oral explanation of exactly where that strike zone was.
No, borderline pitch. Nava not going to offer it that. Not usually called, but it is here.
Watch this reaction here. Strike is called. Nava, wait a second, what?
Very surprised it was. Another little reminder.
Difference of a 3-1 count versus 2-2, and all pitches in play here for Riefenhauser. You can trust Mahle to block a pitch in the dirt tonight. The 2-2. Slug. Deep left. And this stadium will not hold it. It is a 3-run homer for Nava. And the Paw Sox have the lead. A clothesliner from Nava on a 2-2 from Riefenhauser that just got over the top of the wall. And it was a slider. And we talked about leading pitches out over the plate. Example A.
Well, it's a slider that sped up Nava's bat. He gets it, hold of it in the middle of the plate. It's that line drive. And I don't know if that ball went out of the park. It hit off the plexiglass up top, but it's ruled a home run. It's going to stay that way.
Now a 7-5 Paw Sox lead. They move ahead for the second time tonight. Lifted by Bradley. Shallow center. Corey Brown. And the inning is over. 3-run score for Pawtucket. A 2-out, 3-run shot by the big league rehabbing Daniel Nava. So more work to do for the Bulls. Bottom of the 8th coming up. Paw Sox lead 7-5. Two-run lead for the Paw Sox. The bottom of the 8th, thanks to a 3-run homer by Daniel Nava. Came with 2 outs against C.J. Riefenhauser as we get a look at Heath Hembry. And Scott Pose, here's a shot on Nava's home run. Did it get over or did it not? Yep. It's touched by the fan right there over the top
by
of
the
the
fan. I give credit to the umpires when they get it right. They certainly did there. Looked like Joe Moore, who was the first base umpire, and then Reed Churchill was the one who made the call. Saw the fan try to catch it. Ball left the park as a result. It's a home run, a clean one at that. Nava got it done. Put the Paw Sox on top.
7-5 Pawtucket. Bulls have out hit the Paw Sox 10-9. Schaefer starts the 8th against Hembry. A dart of a fastball at the knees. Hembry, 26 years old, a native of Spartanburg, South Carolina. Pitched for the Gamecocks briefly, transferred to the College of Charleston. He's on a big league rehab for the Boston Red Sox. Been on the DL since the middle of June. Soreness in his right shoulder. Check swing, strike on Schaefer. Drafted originally by the Giants was Hembry. And then across to the Red Sox. 4 games this year with Boston, just 6 appearances last season. Up in the zone at 92. Aro now is in line for the win. Inning and 2/3, 2 hits, 1 run. Struck out 3, walked 1. 2-2. Just missed.
For a guy with a lot of power, Schaefer shows some discipline. That's a borderline pitch. He lays off of that one and works the count full.
He told me before the game today that's been one of the areas where he's really had to focus coming from Double-A. Takes this breaking ball down, draws a walk on the slider. But he said, by nature, I'm a very aggressive hitter. He's had to control that aggression in certain counts this year. And a big take on 2-2. Henry not tempted enough of a 3-2 slider. Does not get the chase from the young power prospect. Well, that brings the tie and run up.
That approach from Schaefer has paid off, and it does in this at bat because of that very reason. You get the tying run at the play.
Ball 1 on Franklin.
Schaefer is certainly not a threat to steal. But Franklin has gap power.
(7-5) Pawtucket. Top of the zone strike on Franklin.
Franklin wasn't happy with that call.
He didn't know where to go, did he?
Yeah, he didn't want to show up the umpire, but he just kind of turned around to the dugout and said, hey, what's going on there?
It looked like somebody was controlling him with a joystick. You wanted to look back at the home plate umpire. You wanted to leave the batter's box. The Franklin magnetic field kept him around. The 1-1. Strike 2. Franklin will have no issue with that one. But it still looks like he's seething a bit after that first strike.
As a hitter, you're thinking, I've got 1 strike to work with now. 1 was essentially taken from me, and I've been cheated a little bit.
Now the 1-2. Way high. Emery's first appearance on this big league rehab as Quintero pays yet another visit to the mound. Began the year here with Pawtucket. Henry did 0-2, 7 saves, and an 0.83 ERA before he was called up by the Red Sox. Hock-Julie on deck, and then Maley in this Bulls 8th. Henry on 2-2. Outside again. And right before that pitch, Luis Martinez, backup catcher for the Paw Sox, sprinted out of the dugout into the bullpen. And they are quickly going to get a right-hander up behind Henry. And it's Matt Barnes. 3-2. Foul off.
Franklin looking fastball down with 3-2. Got it. Had a pretty good swing at it. Just fouled it back.
Small lead by Schaefer, and 1 more foul. A better swing that time by Franklin. Still a full count. This has been a common theme tonight for either team's offense against these relievers. They have really made Miller, Aro, Norberto, and others work to get their outs. None has come easily. Line into right, sinks in front of Castillo. Tying runs on for the Bulls.
Great at bat by Franklin. Got a fastball to hit. Hits this one hard into right field. 3-2 looking fastball down. Gets it. Gets the bat out front. And the ball to drop in front of Rusney Castillo. I got to believe the bunt's going to be on with Hock-Julie at the plate. You play for the tie at home because you have the last at bat. You want to move that tying run into scoring position, and Lee handles the bat well.
Nobody has more sacrifice bunts in a Bull uniform this year than Lee. He has 6 of them. Brian DeBrower, I think, is getting a little bit annoyed with all these meetings and mini-meetings and sub-meetings. A lot of shareholder meetings going on right now.
Subcommittee meeting.
Yeah. First baseman now charges hard. Now they pick throw behind the runner second. They throw it away. Schaefer, though, will not advance. Good play by Jackie Bradley Jr. And Scott, you can speak to this kind of play and what the center fielder's responsibilities are.
Well, you've got to be busting in if you see that bunt through because you know there might be a back pick. This isn't a bunt through, but the ball's not bunted. Taro comes up throwing, and the ball gets by Hernandez. Bradley's charging, and if the runner sees that the outfielder's just moving in, has the momentum to go in, they'll shut him down, and that's what shut down Schaefer. Not going to take any risks with nobody out in the inning.
He draws back again. And Hembry scuffling. This is his first appearance of this big league rehab. His last game here with Pawtucket was on June the 9th. Creeping in now. Ball 3. Three balls and no strikes. And now I think if you're Hog Julie, you may simply be up here as a decoy faking a bunt. He doesn't even show. Strike one. Hembry's last appearance of any kind came on June 14th against the Blue Jays. Was placed on the disabled list the next day. Bunt back on. It's bunted Hembry's way. He scoops. Fires at third. And it's late. Schaefer beat it. And the bases are loaded for Durham. Just didn't quite look, Scott, like Hembry had a clean grip on that baseball.
It didn't look like he had a clean grip. The ball was on the ground for a little bit. It's going to be a tough play, and Paw Sox are lucky the ball wasn't thrown away. But Hembry bounded off the mound. He turns to his throwing hand side, but didn't have a clean grip. Schaefer slides in. It's called safe. Lee Churchill saw it. Says he is, so he is. Bases are loaded for Luke Maley.
There goes a sacrifice and a fielder's choice. The Bulls have the bases loaded. And we're going to have one more meeting at the mound. Let's pause 10 seconds for stations to identify themselves on the Durham Bulls Baseball Network. Bob Kipper, pitching coach for the Paw Sox, leaves the mound. Try to steady Hembry's psyche, I think, right there. This has not been an easy inning for him. A walk, a base hit, a sacrifice bunt that was turned away. An attempt at third base that was called safe. Bulls had the bases loaded, nobody out. Maley coming up. And Durham trailing by 2.
Well, it sets the stage. Maley singled his last at bat. The Bulls are hoping that he can continue the run.
Infield and double play depth. Ball 1 on Maley. Tough spot for Hembry for sure. You're on a big league rehab. You're anxious to get back on the mound. The Red Sox certainly want you to get your pitches in. But fighting here as he kisses the inside corner.
Well, command's been the issue. He hasn't been able to locate and therefore hit his spots and leave something over the middle. Franklin had a very competitive bat against him. Hit the ball hard.
The 1-1 on the ground. That is a fair ball over the third base bag. Schaefer and Franklin will come in to tie it. To third is Lee. He's running through the stop sign with the go-ahead run and scores. The playback in second is late. And the Bulls go up 8-7. A bloody tie-breaking run scored by Lee.
I think Lee stuck in the dirt, hurt himself on the slide. He was running through the stop sign no matter what. Ended up scoring, but I think he face planted. Maley goes down and gets a slider, hits it over the back, bounds into the left field corner, and then hits off the railing of the bullpen, stays in play, and that got away from Peguero. Lee saw it. Jared Sandberg's holding up the stop sign, but Lee runs through it and then slides head first and hits his face right on the dirt. Right on the dirt. Shook him up, but the go-ahead run scores. That's going to chase Embry from the ballgame and get Lee to see the trainer to make sure he's okay. Got all his teeth.
3-run double for Maley, and the Bulls vaulting back into the lead. This has ridiculousness all over it. Hashtag MTV. Hawk to lead. 8-7. Bulls lead. And let's hope Hawk is all right. Bulls by 1. Pitching change. Matt Barnes on the way when we return. Fifth inning. Now the carburetors have been open on the offenses, and it's Durham by 1. Let's take one more look at this not so clinical dive by Hawk Julie. And you're right, when he went in head first, he stuck and actually missed home plate. As he, on the flyby, he got it with his foot and then went down. And we saw Mike Sandoval, the athletic trainer for the Bulls, treating the teeth, the lip, the mouth, the chin, the nose in that area.
Well, he did face plant on that. He stuck when he didn't anticipate. He was trying to go through. Luckily, there wasn't a play at the plate because he could have easily been tagged out because his foot didn't hit until he was well by.
So the 8th inning continues, still nobody out. And the batter is Boog Powell. Bulls up 8-7.
You know when these two teams get together, it's going to be a wild one. And this one has lived up to the billing.
There's just too much pride on the line.
The lead changes. One team scores, the other answers. And I expected pitching to be ahead of the hitting just based on the All-Star break, but we've seen the hitters rebound rather well.
Matt Barnes, the new pitcher. It's a foul in the batter's box by Powell. The quality of teams, championship teams that Durham and Pawtucket have put forth these last 3 years. For Pawtucket, they've been to the championship series the last 3 years. The Bulls have been there each of the last 2. Even though if you go back to 2012 for Pawtucket, 2013 for the Bulls, very few players remain from those teams as Powell got jammed, pops it up, Quintero no play. But enough is still remaining, and really it's kind of like passing the torch from one team to the next, one player to the next. So while the look of the Bulls roster, the look of the Pawtucket roster from the first year of these runs to the Governor's Cup have changed, there still is enough knowledge, enough respect of the history, and enough ways to further what these franchises have done these last few years. Blocked by Quintero.
It's a good take by Powell. He doesn't offer it the pitch that's down on the dirt from Barnes.
Meanwhile, how about Maley? How big is that hit? Luke has certainly not had the kind of offensive year that he's wanted this year. 90 games in, he's overtaken the frontline catching duties. Even when Kirk Casale was here as a 40-man roster catcher, Maley had nosed ahead of him. 2-2, another block by Quintero. But the 3-run double we just saw from Maley tastes awfully good right now. Because while there is time left in the season, not a great deal of time. 54 games, including tonight. Maley now 16 RBIs and his second hit tonight.
Got a clutch time, too. I mean, he hits it down to the corner. Fortuitous bounce for the Bulls. It got away in left field. Peguero finally tracked it down. Lee's speed again showing. He's able to score all the way from first.
Powell rips one to right. Base hit. Castillo coming up throwing. Maley is going to be held. The throw tumbles into Quintero. And cue the boos. Signal by Powell. His first hit tonight.
Well, he got a pitch over the middle of the plate, got the bat out front. It looked to be off speed, hit a solid line drive into right field, puts runners at first and third to the middle of the order. The player at the plate has only doubled and tripled his last 2 times up.
Barnes against Brett. Strike taken. Quintero wanted to throw back behind the runner at first. Powell. Bulls now looking for that separator. Bailey's 3-run double has trumped the lead for the Paw Sox. It's now 8-7 Durham, as they should be very concerned with Powell's speed at first base. Bailey at third, Powell at first. Still nobody out. Barnes missing down and in. Well, we fear we might see Ronald Belisario try to close up the game against his former team. Instead, Kirby Yates is going to act as the end game solution for the Bulls tonight. He's in the pen getting ready for a second time. Barnes on 1-1. Good off-speed pitch past Brett.
Quintero got his throw down. He's been trying to throw down and back pick. He does here on the swing and miss. Powell got back in time.
Now we'll see what Kevin Bowles does with his infield with a couple of strikes on Brett. Hernandez and Weeks, the middle infielders, about halfway. Barnes on 1-2, strikes him out. Brett takes strike 3. Just couldn't pull the trigger on a plus fastball from Barnes.
We saw a couple breaking balls, and that really set him up for the fastball. Barnes paints the corner and freezes Brett. Good execution by Barnes. That's a fastball with some movement. Comes back, get the outside corner. Great placement. Sometimes you got to tip your hat to the pitcher. And he does.
Now the Paw Sox are a double play away from getting through this inning. Pawtucket out ahead of it. All the more reason to run with Powell in this situation, Scott, or not?
Well, you've got Barnes who's pretty quick to the plate, and you don't want to run yourself out of the inning. You like to have the insurance, and you're thinking if Pawtucket could put the ball in play, it's going to be tough to double up.
8-7 Durham. And a play on Powell again.
We'll get our staff on the stopwatch time here of what Barnes is to the plate. Typically, you want a pitcher if you're defensively 1-2 or under. That'll prevent a runner from going, and I think Barnes is within that range.
Powell not going. Hard shot the other way, foul. And how about Mayo Acosta down there in the bullpen for Durham? Or is that Bobby Wilson? I think it's Bobby Wilson down there. It's usually Acosta warming up a pitcher. Whoever is behind the mask. Wonderful stuff. I think that's Bobby.
Where's the protector?
Maybe giving Acosta the night off. 0-2. Swing and a miss. So Pawtucket fans. 2 outs in the 8th inning. Back-to-back strikeouts by Barnes.
Elevated fastball this time. Pawtucket cannot lay off. Barnes is about a 1-3 to the plate, so it's got to be the right pitch to go on. Pitch up isn't the pitch to do it. Hard to make contact with a pitch like that. Quintero very happy because Barnes threw it exactly where he wanted to.
Two outs, 8th inning. Throw on Powell. Scott, we haven't gotten to the answer of our trivia question. Let's do that while it's on my mind.
Well, I'm glad that it is. It's teed up. Question was, former Ray, tied to the Bulls, and former Red Sox. Wade Boggs has 3,010 hits. We want to know how many of them occurred while he was a member of the Red Sox. And the answer is 2,098. A bunch. While he was a Boston Red Sox. Hall of Famer Wade Boggs.
So there we go. We'll check out the correct answers, and we will select one winner if there are multiple answers. Good question today, by the way.
Well, thanks.
We'll do it again tomorrow. We'll try not to be stretched out for 4 innings. Runner goes, breaking ball down, double steal is employed. The throw bounces in. Quintero hangs on. Safe is the call.
He didn't give him a lane to slide.
Mailey scores, and now you want to talk about an argument. Let's watch this one.
Quintero blocked the plate, did not give the runner a lane to slide. That's exactly what Brian Brower is saying. He's safe because the runner had nowhere to go.
We'll take another look.
Powell took off. Weeks comes in, cuts it off. Quintero catches the ball, but there's no lane for Mailey, who's trying to steal home.
Bulls has just been ejected. That's the cheer you hear in the background. And I'm a pretty good lip reader. I'm not going to interpret.
Well, there are rules in place now to protect catchers, and one of those rules is you can't get run over, but you've got to give the base runner a lane to slide in. There was no lane there, and Brian DeBrouwer is telling him, hey, that's the case, that's why he's safe.
And Joe Bourne, the first base umpire, coming out now. Now Jared Sandberg is being told something down at third base.
Well, Powell's at third right now. They're telling him he's got to go back to second because he stole second initially, came to third when the brouhaha was going on.
So that will go in the books as a double steal. You see Mailey kind of reaching in, maybe trying to dislodge the ball. But Quintero kind of towered over home plate and didn't give Mailey, even if he went into a slide, an opportunity to get to the plate. There you see the toss a few seconds ago by DeBrouwer. Kevin Bowles, who, by the way, is only on about an hour and a half sleep. He was the de facto pitching coach of the AAA All-Star game in Omaha yesterday. And one more comment on that play at home plate. We brought up Quintero and Mailey in the situation from a few months ago. And I'm sure for Luke that felt he's trying to score a run, make a play, but the irony is certainly not lost or coincidence even that it was Mailey trying to steal on the back end of that double steal and rolling his way through Quintero.
Well, I think Mailey, if he really wanted to blow Quintero up, he could have, but he tried to get by to the side. Contact was incidental. There was no malicious intent. Nope. It was a clean play and called that way.
And ball 4 on Aaron Seavey.
I mean, I've seen in years past, if that goes on, you're looking at a full-fledged shoulder-in, like football play, trying to separate the catcher from the ball, and that's exactly what the rule is designed to stop. And I think it did for the most part. Interesting to see the call made in that fashion as we get a look as the slider misses on Aaron Seavey.
So another long offensive inning for Durham. It is now a 9-7 lead. And the ninth man to bat in this 8th inning is Corey Brown. 2 for 4 tonight. A swing through against 95 from Barnes.
I guarantee out of all that, Mailey's going to be more proud that he stole home than anything else that he's done today. Not often catchers steal bases, much less steal home.
More proud than the 3-run double?
It's going to be close.
The back pick to second base. Almost had Boog Powell there.
Quintero very active behind the plate. It's going to continue to be so. He's tried to get Powell a couple of times at first base and now here at second. It's a good throw, good play, but Powell quick enough to get back. Secondary lead by Powell looked to be a little bit too far. So Quintero takes a shot.
One to Brown. 2 innings have gotten away from the Paw Sox on the mound. Couch faltered in the 6th. And here in the 8th inning, Hembree struggled right from the get-go. Pushed around to a couple of long counts. The failed attempt to cut down the lead runner on the sacrifice bunt by Lee. Bailey's clutch 3-run double for the lead. 2-1. That's low. No help behind Barnes. A pitch away from filling the bases. Now in the 9th for the Paw Sox, at least 2 runs down. Castillo, Peguero, and Craig are due. 3-1. Swing and a miss. If there's one area of the strike zone where Barnes has had his way with the Bulls hitters since he's come on, it's been that fastball belled high and even about a foot and a half further beyond that. Good velocity, good life, nearly untouchable up there. Runners will be off, and Barnes knows it. Powell at second, Aaron Seavey at first, 2 down. Now a 9-7 Durham lead. Runners go. Ball 4, marginally off the corner, and Barnes drops his shoulders. Didn't like the call, nor does Quintero. Turning around to the home plate umpire, Brian Abraware, who has already ejected 1 Paw Sox in this inning.
That's a close pitch. It's off the plate, but Quintero holds the glove there. Pitcher hits his spot, but not going to get the call from Abraware. I think that's why we saw Barnes react the way that he did. Pitching coach, and now I'm guessing active manager Bob Kipper is out. Try to calm his pitcher down.
The bases are loaded, 2 outs. And for the second time in 3 innings, the Bulls are going to send their 10th man to the plate.
They're going to mess my scorebook is what they're doing.
3-run double by Maile. He then steals home on the back end of a double steal. And certainly a play with a lot of controversy dripping off of it. When the throw home by Weeks came in, Quintero got the tag on Maile, but evidently did not give Maile a lane to score. So even though the tag was made in time, an immediate safe call was distinguished by Brian Abraware. And a few moments later, Kevin Bowles tossed. Schaefer in the box looking for the TKO. Strike 1 from Barnes. Schaefer's been on base all 4 times tonight. 3 walks and a single. Oh, 0-2. Schaefer's first Bulls game since last Friday. He missed the final couple of games before the All-Star break, going to the Futures game. Took BP at Great American Ballpark. Hit a couple of balls to the wall in the game. Went 0 for 4 as the cleanup hitter. The pitch. Good block by Quintero again.
Played a good game defensively back there.
Yeah, both of them have.
Bailey has as well.
Bailey's blocked maybe 11 or 12 balls. Couple got by him. Quintero's been very active as well. Blocking pitches, making back picks. Nine 7 Durham in the 8th. Strike 3 called on Schaefer. 96 on the edge. The Bulls will settle for 4 and their second lead. It's last call for the Paw Sox. Done with 8. Durham up 9-7. Two-run lead for the Bulls. 9-7. Top of the 9th inning. 5th pitcher tonight for Durham. Right-hander Kirby Yates. Closer for the Bulls over the last year and a half or so until his first promotion up to Tampa Bay last year. .692 earned run average over Yates 12 games. He does have one save this year. But the Bulls been searching for a ninth inning guy after Belisario went up to the Rays and then was DFA'd and let go and ultimately signed as a free agent by the Red Sox. Jared Sandberg before the game saying he's still not really settled in. Gilmet was probably going to fall in that role, but Gilmet was then DFA'd and claimed by the Dodgers. So still the 8th, 9th inning setup for the Bulls in a little bit of flux. So Yates gets the crack. Top of the 9th, Bulls up 2. Leadoff hitter is Castillo. Strike 1. A 4-run 8th. And a housekeeping item to pass along after this pitch from Yates on a scoring change from that 8th inning. Here's the pitch from Kirby. Swing and a miss. By rule, the official score has just announced that on that potential double steal of Powell to second, Maile coming home, because interference was called on the catcher Quintero, it is not a steal on either end, and it's an error on Quintero for interference. Swing and a miss, and Yates, a very quick disposal of Castillo.
Well, Yates climbs the ladder, gets Castillo to swing through one up in his eyeballs with 2 strikes.
One gone in the 9th inning. 9-7 Durham.
Maile wanted the pitch up, and that's precisely where Yates threw it. Maile standing up in a more upright stance, setting the high target. Yates hits this spot as a result. The Bulls get the strikeout. Good execution on that end.
Now Peguero, he's been on base a couple of times tonight. Single and a walk. Yates misses low, ball 1. Couch took a 3-hit shutout into the 6th. It was a 0-0 game into the top of the 5th inning, and you could almost make a case where Zarate gets through that inning without giving up any of those 4 runs. Strike at the bottom of the zone from Yates. Seen a lot of major action at home plate tonight. Peguero throwing out Brown at home plate on a bang-bang play in the 2nd inning. Powell almost cutting down Jamal Weeks in the 5th. We've seen a lot of barking at the home plate umpire, Brian DeBrawware, tonight. The interference call certainly on that Maile charge home on the back end of what was a double steal, now changed. Yates to the plate. Outside on Peguero. Pawtucket, meanwhile, just looking for one base runner. That would get the tying run to the plate. Two. Swing and a miss. Life on the fastball for Yates exists tonight. Castillo and Peguero both gone.
Life on the fastball that's elevated.
And now Alan Craig represents the last hope for the Paw Sox in the series opener. Craig 1 of 4. Ball 1. A pitcher's duel began. The game morphed into an avalanche of runs. 16 total. 1-1.
We saw the hitters wake up. We figured that they might be a little bit rusty after the All-Star break, but then all of a sudden late in the game we saw some offense. Nava hits the home run. The Bulls answer with runs of their own. But a lot of offense late in the ball game.
Ball 2, a little down on Craig. Second game of the series tomorrow night, 7:05. Joe Kelly, Braden Higgins. Yates on 2-1. fouled our way. And Kirby Yates seems to have that eye about him tonight. When he was closing games for the Bulls over about the last year and a half, aggressively attacking the strike zone with that fastball. He almost dared hitters to make contact. We're seeing a little bit of that return tonight for Yates. I don't know if it's Pawtucket. I don't know if it's after the All-Star break. But he looks like the Yates we've seen in the past. Strike three called. That's a Bull City victory.
Yates comes back and throws a fastball with 2 strikes. Hits the outside corner to close out the win. But you're right, Patrick. Yates looked like the closer of Bulls. Closes it down and gets the save. Good win for the Bulls, coming back off the All-Star break, and a big one against a Pawtucket team that played well tonight.
Oh, this is going to be some kind of series again. The Bulls and Paw Sox reacquaint themselves. Pawtucket drops a 4-0 lead. They grabbed it back in the 8th, and the Bulls rally one more time. 9-7 is your final. The Bulls claim the opener of the 4-game series. For Scott Pose, Dave Lyons, the producer-engineer of Bulls Baseball, for our friends up in the Northeast on NESN, we appreciate your time tonight. Hope you enjoy the broadcast. And for our friends at Time Warner Cable Sports Channel, so long from the DBAP. Airtime tomorrow is 7 o'clock, game 2 of this series. On the radio side, we'll come back. Jim Bowdish, Tamara Ellis, Edward Jones postgame show begins next. Bulls win 9-7.
Tanner.